Subscribe, like the video, and, if possible, join Patreon. But if you don't have much money, you can support the channel by watching the novels on euroaudiobooks.com. Remember that you can participate in the polls so that your favorite novel gets published for free.
Not only does it look attractive, but it also has a charming aroma. The boss couldn't help but say, "So just now you made a charcoal fire alone, just to bury the big iron pot in the charcoal fire to heat it?" Lin Fan nodded and smiled. "Yes, the pot is first buried in the charcoal fire and heated until it turns red. This is because the maximum temperature of the charcoal fire is about 1,200 degrees. If you bury the pot in it, the temperature of the iron pot will be similar to that of the charcoal fire because the iron pot will not be able to dissipate heat. 5. In extreme heat, a quick stir fry in an instant will give you a crispy texture. The double-cooked mutton melts in your mouth, and the fat and flavor are completely integrated. That's the heart of this recipe. If you can't control the temperature and stir fry well, such a high temperature will turn into coke in the moment you put in the pot, whether it's 130 ingredients or seasonings. So, this is not an ordinary double-cooked mutton. It is a special dish infused with soul and time." Wow, there was an uproar all around. Soul-infused premium dishes? Amazing. I'm not at all Lin Fan because he just did it. I'm looking at Markanta. I'm not stomping on it. But compared to Lin Fa's, his iron ball cooking is a bit bad. But I can't draw a conclusion until I see the dishes. One thing to say, did he imitate Lin Fan's rotation theory? Or, in a sense, refer to Lin Fan's cooking? 35 he's done too. Looking forward to seeing it. Everyone's eyes fell on Markanta again. I saw that he put away the smiling face just now, and his mood looked more serious. Seems to be serious. The speed of the iron ball slowly slowed down, or even stopped. Everyone's eyes stared straight at the big iron ball. Markanta is going to open it. Chapter 2.0 for this is a showdown between rotating dishes. Subscription. Markanta opened the iron ball. Everyone's eyes were fixed on the iron ball. Wow. The billowing mist, with its fragrance, burst out in an instant. Markanta was surrounded by mist and had a strong and attractive aroma. Tourists were amazed. "It's so fragrant. This is the taste of mutton, and what Markanta makes is also mutton." 35 lamb stew. With the power of rotation, the mutton is cooked inside the iron ball, and a new taste is also created. It's said to be like this. It's much better than the regular ones. I don't know if it's true or not, but it smells so good. It's just a moment's effort. The mutton smell is all around, completely overshadowing Lin Fan's big double-cooked pork. 35 everyone is talking about it here. Markanta serves up the mutton stew in an iron ball. It was steaming hot and fragrant, making the people around me want to stop and drool. Markanta smiled and said, "The temperature here, the cooking time, can be faster than a pressure cooker. However, I admire you two. So next, let's see whose cooking is better." Markanta said, looking at the restaurant owner. This funny clown makeup, half-smile expression, made the boss feel a little uncomfortable. Look at the two dishes in front of you. Lin Fan's Big Bang twice-cooked pork uses mutton. When the temperature of the red-hot iron pan reaches 1,200 degrees, the ingredients are instantly put into the pot. Using just the right time, I completed this big explosion of twice-cooked pork in front of me. The iron ball circus cuisine in Markanta uses the centrifugal force of rotation to cook the mutton inside the iron ball. The cooking methods used in both are different from the conventional ones. Thinking of this, the boss took a deep breath. It should be fortunate to have Lin Fan, even if he has incomparable confidence in his own cooking. In the face of people like Markanta, who do not play cards according to common sense, I am afraid that they will also suffer. So, Lin Fan has become his restaurant savior. Then, the boss first looked at Lin Fan's big fried pork. The fat part of the mutton has become translucent because of the high temperature. Add a slice and eat it in your mouth. In an instant, the skin was fried by high temperature until the crispy skin, and when the upper and lower teeth touched, it made a crisp sound. Then came the mutton, with only the fat left and the lean meat in stark contrast. This combination of fat and thin is to make this plate of double-cooked mutton not dry in taste. But the magic is that the lean meat part tastes dry and fragrant. After blending with the mutton fat, it forms the most beautiful taste. In an instant, the owner of the restaurant thought he was going to fly. Delicious. Such a delicious stir-fried mutton. This mutton is neither oily nor greasy. Because of the high temperature, the fat of the mutton has been melted, but the most amazing thing is that it has not completely melted. 35, it also has a hint of fat, and it has a soft and glutinous taste. 35, in addition to the lean meat, there are spices and the finishing touch of the soul, green onions and garlic sprouts. This is a very Chinese-style, stir-fried dish, but Lin Fan brought it out with the most perfect cooking techniques. Delicious. If there's a bowl of rice at this time, I can eat it all, or even eat a few more bowls. Because of this dish, it's really too good to eat. This passed evaluation by the boss. All the people around couldn't hold back. After all, most of the people who are familiar with the shop and the owner and who are interested in are foodies. To see such a delicious and have such a high evaluation, just standing and watching, the crowd instantly boiled. My God, I really want to take a bite. As long as I can taste it, it's worth it no matter what. Lin Fan, do you have any plans to open a store? If you open a store, I will definitely visit every day, order all the dishes you have cooked before, no matter how much it costs. 39. It's so fragrant this season at such a temperature. Being able to eat mutton itself is a very delicious thing. But the mutton stew in Marcanta is not bad. It feels more suitable for this temperature. I want to taste all of these. After hearing these words, Malcanta was curious, picked up his chopsticks, and took a sip. Kakaka! The moment the mutton is entered, the upper and lower teeth are closed. The meat slices were easily bitten in half. The crispy skin texture, in the next instant, the mutton fat instantly melts with the lean meat. The only bit of fat left, and the gravy, the soup altogether. After drying, it turns into a strong fragrance. The taste of mutton is not at all stinky, but the taste that only top-quality mutton can taste. Marcanta was stunned. Looking back at Lin Fan, what surprised him was not just the shock brought by the ingredients and the combination of spices. In his taste buds, he can quickly and clearly distinguish the taste of spice. And the combination of these spices, each spice, the amount, and the new taste formed after they are combined together. These flash through his mind like a slideshow. Just a teenager. How can he have such a large amount of cooking knowledge? You must know that the sensitive Marcanta knows the combination, good, and usage of these spices, which is definitely not something that a teenage boy can realize. This must be the precipitation that takes time, and there are countless failed experiences before it can be realized. However, all of this happened right before his eyes. This teenage boy, he easily mastered this trick. It's incredible, even outrageous. Marcanta before Lenovo Lin Fan's game, Flame Cooking by Luo Snake Chain. These cooking skills and cooking skills are all real, and there is no hype and gimmick in it. No wonder. He instantly understood why Shaki followed without hesitation. Even if Huang Guang takes his life, he must follow Lin Fan. Even at this moment, Malcanta seems to have a force in his heart, which is encouraging him to follow Lin Fan. Chapter 205. This is the perfect use of spices. Subscription. The idea frightened even Marcanta himself. At this moment, it seems that something is controlling him invisibly. He had to be convinced by Lin Fan's cooking. However, stubborn Malcanta, trying to break free, seeing him calmly, said, "Since you have finished tasting your dishes, then it's mine. What I'm trying to say is, even if your cooking is perfect, my mutton stew wins the climate. When beef and mutton encounter cold air, the fat will quickly coagulate into lumps. Although this plate of stir-fried double-cooked pork is perfect, it should not be left for a long time. In a short period of time, the oil will clump together, which will seriously affect the taste. Yet my lamb stew has no such troubles." 39 Malcanta said proudly. Although he clearly knew in his heart, if there is no such argument, I am afraid there is no way to win against Lin Fan. The deliciousness of the mutton out of the pot and the perfect fusion of various seasonings have simply reached the peak level. The owner started tasting the mutton stew from Marcanta 130. Pieces of beef cut into small pieces, after adding seasonings, were stewed until tender. Even a moment when the chopsticks are picked up, you can feel that the beef can be crushed with a little force. It has been stewed to such an extent, not to mention delicious. The boss ate it in his mouth. The chunks of beef melted instantly in the mouth. The level of soft and glutinous lamb is amazing, comparable to a pressure cooker. The boss was pleasantly surprised. I didn't expect it to be so delicious. The degree of softness is even stronger than that of a pressure cooker, and even the tendons of lamb are stewed softly. Eat it in one bite. The Q is soft and glutinous. It's really delicious. 35. I didn't expect this big iron ball to be able to make such amazing dishes. I have to say, Marcanta's strength to tell the rotation, but also to ensure the temperature. It is really amazing. The boss has already tasted the dishes for the two of them. So at this time, it is also the most critical moment. Choose one of the two. At this time, Marcanta couldn't help saying, "Here, I need to interject triple of words. As a chef, you have to consider many aspects. For example, the climate issue of the moment." 35. Although Lin Fan's cooking is perfect, there is one thing he neglected, and it's a pity. Saying that, Marcanta pointed to the cooking plate. Suddenly startled. How come? People are puzzled. What is this guy going to say? It's like this again halfway through. Yeah, if I don't get to the point and just say Lin Fan's cooking is not good, can I think that this is deliberately smearing? That's right. Where did Lin Fan neglect? You said it. The onlookers began to boo. Marcanta stared at the plate. Lin Fan smiled calmly and said, "What you want to say is that because of the weather, the fried meat will clump together due to the cold air, right?" 99. As a mature chef, since you can think of it, why can't I think of it? 35. Take a good look. Lin Fan said here. The crowd suddenly realized. Marcanta looked at it carefully and said in surprise, "Tin foil." Lin Fan continued to laugh. "You are looking carefully." Because of the remaining soup in the plate, it stands to reason that after there is no residual temperature of the ingredients, it should clump together. But the soup on the plate remained hot. Marcanta reached out and touched the plate. Just now, he saw the tin foil. However, just tin foil is not enough to make such a constant temperature effect. The moment Marcanta's hand touched the plate, he instantly understood. The material of this plate is stone. Because of this, Lin Fan buried the iron pot in the charcoal fire and also put the stone plate in together. Take it out at a certain temperature. In this way, the temperature of the ingredients can be maintained, which is also considered beautiful. Lin Fan calmly said, "How is it?" 99. Did you still think just now that your cooking is flawed? But if you grasp this point and cut in, then in this game, I will lose the competition because of this basic mistake. However, what I want to say is that you really think too much. How could I have made such a low-level mistake? Actually, your circus dish is quite novel, but it didn't work out. Marcanta was surprised. Lin Fan continued. Although the heat is in place, there is still one final point. I think you already understood it when you tasted my cooking. 35. That's the combination of seasonings. Actually, you can completely restore its most original taste from the ingredients themselves without adding so many complicated ingredients. Take the original flavor as the starting point to interpret this dish. But you didn't. You used spices. Then, in terms of seasoning, you have to be the best. Each spice, different spice combination, and even the order of the combination will directly affect the taste of the dish itself. 99. Then, once you choose the latter, you must be responsible to the eater. Make this dish the best it can be. Extreme. Do you understand what I mean? However, I haven't tasted it yet. Just by smelling it, I know that you didn't do it. 99. This, if you don't believe what the boss said, you can let the people around you try it. Speaking of which, Lin Fan took out another portion of stir-fried double-fried pork that had been prepared in advance. Everyone came forward and tasted the twice-cooked pork and the stewed mutton. The passers-by watched for so long and finally got their wish. After tasting Lin Fan's dishes, one by one indulged in the delicious ocean, unable to extricate themselves. After a while, passers-by finally made their comments. The mutton stew is very delicious when taken out on its own, but it is instantly inferior when combined with Lin Fan's twice-cooked pork. 99. as Lin Fan said. After a comparison, there is no doubt that the shortcomings are exposed. It's a pity, a good dish, but unfortunately, he met Lin Fan. Chapter 206, the person who specializes in cooking blood. Subscribe. The crowd kept talking. This completely disrupted Marcana's train of thought. However, at this time, in his heart, the desire to identify Lin Fan, to follow, became stronger and stronger. Even he himself didn't know why. Totally out of control. At this time, Malcanta only wanted to follow Lin Fan. However, this idea, he immediately said it. I want to follow you. Wow. After these words were spoken, everyone present was stunned. It's really hard to believe. Just a few minutes ago, Marcanta was the creepy, terrifying cookman who laughed and was so confident in his own cooking, was one of the perpetrators of the recent incident about the food invaders. But right after he tasted Lin Fan's dishes, he dared to say the words that he needed to follow. The sudden contrast between the two made people unable to accept it for a while. Is this change too fast? This guy just looked like he was going to win. This can only prove a problem. It shows that Lin Fan's cooking is indeed very good. 35. I was still struggling. These two dishes are equal in terms of innovation, cooking skills, and even difficulty, but I didn't expect that this clown, Malcanta, would admit defeat. Lin Fan's cooking seems to have a magical power, and after eating it, you can't stop. I really want to try it too. I really agree with that sentence. I will die without regrets. 35, that's true. I was fortunate enough to taste Malcana's cuisine, and I was really amazed. But even so, the other party directly conceded defeat, which shows Lin Fan's cooking skills. Everyone was talking and couldn't stop. Lin Fan was not surprised by this. Those who have been hit by the 8 demon-breaking formations are like that. Just when everyone thought that Lin Fan was going to agree to accept this powerful follower, this talented young man once again shocked everyone. Lin Fan calmly said, "Follow me?" 35. I don't know since when what bulls, ghosts, snakes, and gods will follow me. Is this the temperament of a late-night cook? Dare to gamble, but dare not admit defeat. Since this is the case, then I'll make it clear, even if you want to follow me, then please follow what we said before and abide by our bet. Malcanta puzzled, the bet. Lin Fan continued to reply. Although I didn't say it explicitly, as your late-night cook, after I played against him, I knew the bloody nature of it. 5. If you lose, and you still want to escape your fate by following me. If you dare to risk your life, you will explain it here today. Maybe I can think about it. Wow, everyone boiled again. This young man is too unreasonable, isn't he? Although Lin Fan is the final victor, I always feel that there is something wrong with this statement. No matter what, the opponent's life is gone. How can he follow? But from the perspective of the invaded boss, it's really satisfying. If the loser is Lin Fan or the boss, then the other party will bypass it, right? That's true. Listening to what Lin Fan said, if this guy is going back to their organization, I'm afraid it will be difficult. Lin Fan's neat words surprised Malcanta. In my heart, I admire Lin Fan a lot again. Such a brave boy. From the very beginning, I thought that Lin Fan was just a little boy who didn't know anything. Up to now, there are chefs who have the guts, but also have amazing cooking skills. This made Marcanta even more determined to follow Lin Fan. So, Malcanta determined, since I am ready to follow you, then my life is yours. So what you want me to do is justified. With that said, Marcanta looked at the puffer fish in the ingredients area. This was the acquiescence of both sides before the competition. Wow, there was an uproar. Those with children started to leave. Some people don't even dare to look at the picture in front of them and cover their eyes with their hands. I saw Marcanta, and without any hesitation, picked up the puffer fish. The places with the highly poisonous parts will be removed exactly. It's like making a delicious meal. After careful processing, it is also served with dipping sauces. Everyone subconsciously made a swallowing action. At this time, the restaurant owner hurriedly stepped forward and stopped. You think about it. A lot of things don't have to be so absolute. As for Flower 00 Malcanta didn't hesitate. After processing, the poisonous part looked delicious. Seeing him take one bite after another. At this time, Lin Fan walked over and asked calmly, Then I will ask you one thing now. Who is the leader of the late-night cook? Where can I find him? My target is him." After speaking, Lin Fan amplified the decibel again and said, "I guess there should also be a cook's accomplice here. Although you didn't show up, what I'm going to say next is for you. My ultimate goal is to find the leader of your late-night cook. So, if anyone knows, I welcome you to provide me with clues and information. 39. I am also a moral person. Whoever said it, I will not speak out about this matter. 35. But if I don't say it, then I can only deal with it by myself. If I accidentally hurt someone, I can't control it." The voice just fell. Bang! A muffled sound. Malcanta suddenly fell to the ground. After the toxins of the puffer fish and the toxins of the 8 demon-breaking arrays were fused together, the poisoning time was shortened. Lin Fan looked at Malcanta and smiled calmly. "You are also very courageous. Okay, I reluctantly agree now. You are qualified to follow me. But you have to tell me first, who is the leader of the late-night cook, and where can I find him?" Malcanta sweated on his forehead and shook his head. "I don't know. I have seen him a few times, but every time he is covered, there is no way to see his face clearly. 99. As for where he is, that's a mystery too." Having said that, Malcanta changed the subject and said, "I can follow you now." Lin Fan looked at him, and Pomo Bazhen would not let him lie. "It seems this guy really doesn't know. There is no use value," Lin Fan replied impatiently. "First of all, you have to survive." After speaking, he walked away, because at this time, he has another thing to do. In the list he got, there is a cook who specializes in making blood dishes. This is Lin Fan's next goal. Chapter 207, a seemingly ordinary but unusual sheep's soup for subscription. Lin Fan was walking on the road, flipping through the phone. The cook named Claudeville. It takes Shaki's lead to find him. I thought that this man rarely appeared, and his whereabouts were strange. The taxi pulled over and stopped, with Shaki sitting in the back row. Seeing Lin Fan standing on the side of the road, Shaki beckoned. "Go directly. According to reliable information, Claudeville is going to another party at the moment." Although Lin Fan was not quite sure what kind of party was Shaki talking about, but he didn't think too much. He just opened the rear door and sat on it. A villa in a suburb, the relationship may be old. The villa is slightly worn. The outside walls are covered with creepers. After getting off the car, Lin Fan asked, "Is this the home of the 130 called Claudeville?" After hearing this, Shaki shook his head slightly and said, "To be exact, it should be a gathering place for cooks." Speaking of this, Shaki explained again, "This place as a base for cooks, although most people will not live here, but usually as a liaison, or if there's something important to discuss, I will gather here. Compared to the small restaurant before, it is much safer here." Lin Fan asked back, "If that's the case, why didn't you come here directly before?" Shaki shook his head and said, "The cooks have a responsibility in each area. They will communicate well and choose a gathering place according to the urgency of the situation. That's why it is said that Claudeville will be here today. After all, today's meeting should be to elect him to be responsible for this area." Lin Fan was slightly disappointed and asked, "So, the leader of the late-night cook won't come?" 9. Shaki shook his head. "In general, such a gathering will not come." Lin Fan continued to ask, "Do you know his name?" Shaki thought for a moment and replied, "Do you really want to know?" Lin Fan nodded. Shaki thought again and said, "Because of some things, there was a brief intersection." Having said this, Shaki thought for a while and simply said, "Forget it. Let's say it directly. That is, I lost to him before I met you. I tried cooking with him and lost to him. At the time, I thought that there might be few chefs as good as him in this world. So Kai followed wholeheartedly. I know his name, Caibo Chuyang. As for his face, he always wears a peaked cap, and his face is also blocked, so he can't see it clearly." Lin Fan thought for a while, then muttered, "Caibo Chuyang. Why does this name sound familiar? But I really can't remember where I heard it. After all, there's so many things going on recently, it's impossible to count what happened with your fingers. I really can't remember who it is, but I always feel that I have had an encounter with him." Lin Fan muttered. Shaki didn't care. The two went directly into the villa. As soon as the door was pushed in, The atmosphere inside instantly became dignified. Pairs of eyes all fell on Lin Fan. At this time, a cook said with an yin and yang peculiar air, "Huh, who am I supposed to be?" It turns out to be the military officer Shaki. I really didn't expect that the aloof and mighty Shaki of Xingjin would be willing to follow this hairy boy. 5, it really doesn't make sense. Really, this brat's cooking skills are so good. This unfamiliar face spoke with a strong sense of sarcasm. Of course, Shaki held his hands, and Sundara said, "What happens to me? That's also my choice. Since when did it become my turn to be a third-rate chef to point fingers here?" "Just you." Shaki looked indifferent. Next to him was the man who was talking, stomping his feet in anger. Even so, it was useless, and the onlookers burst into laughter. The man was so angry that he wanted to come forward and reason. Unexpectedly, he was stopped by another person. Shaki is right. Even if she loses to Lin Fan, it's not a third-rate chef's turn to point fingers. Point 39, because it should be me too. A man's voice is thick. At this time, it was a middle-aged man who looked to be in his 40s. Serious expression. When a man who was mocking just now saw this, he wanted to speak, but he was afraid, so he held back. After seeing Shaki, she smiled and said, "Claudeville, it's been a long time. 5, I didn't expect you to change at all. The people under my hands are still so ignorant." 99, the man who spoke was exactly the person Lin Fan was looking for, Claudeville. I saw Claudeville expressionless and looked at Lin Fan beside Shaki. "You're a Lin Fan." After saying this, everyone reacted and turned their attention back to Lin Fan again. Unfamiliar faces around this Shaki and have been discussing, "He's Lin Fan?" It's no wonder that he was still thinking about how Shaki would go back to the late-night cook party with a strange cook. Yeah, I just wanted to say, Shaki wouldn't be Lin Fan next to him, but was interrupted by the cook just now, but I didn't expect it to be true. 55, just got reliable news. Lin Fan beat the clown Malcanta. Huh, seriously? Then, it looks like this guy came with a purpose. 35, it's been confirmed, and that fellow Malcanta, like a madman, wants to follow Lin Fan and is passively poisoned. I heard about this, so this party seems to be started to discuss how to deal with Lin Fan. Really? Then this guy just came to the door himself. You said, will he challenge Claudeville directly? Who knows? There was a lot of discussion. At this time, Claudeville quickly looked at Lin Fan and said calmly, "It seems like a coincidence. You didn't have to look for us, but you brought them here yourself. Tell me, how do you want to lose?" 35. No, I should be asking, what kind of death do you want? Chapter 208, the theme is lamb. Please subscribe. How do I want to die? Lin Fan asked back, even with a disdainful smile. Claudeville didn't answer, looking at him seriously. The cooks in the house cheered. Is it so exciting as soon as it comes up? Claudeville seems to be coming for real. The cooks are very curious and want to see Lin Fan's cooking skills with their own eyes. This is great. It's great. There are rumors in the circle that this guy is quite powerful. After seeing him defeating Shaki, Marcanta, and the king in a row, it can be seen that his strength should not be underestimated. 35. Yes, but it is precisely because of this that the desire to challenge Lin Fan is aroused. After all, whoever wins will be the default honor in the circle. Actually, to be honest, I also want to try cooking with Lin Fan. Don't you lose your life if you lose. If the cooking skills are all denied, then it may only be the walking dead. But the premise is that this guy is so arrogant, he wants to be willing to compare with you. Forget it. Say that those are not used in 08. Let's take a look first. A bunch of people are talking. Lin Fan looked at Claudeville and said with a smile, "Since you already know my intention, then compare." Claudeville nodded and said, "The price?" Lin Fan continued, "I need to know where to find Saibo Choyang." Claudeville laughed. "It turned out to be for this. Nice and bold. You must know that the ability to become the leader of the cook is not something you can comprehend as a young boy. He wouldn't show up at such a small gathering, let alone where he was going." The meaning in Claudeville's words was that he didn't know where the Saibo Choyang people were. Lin Fan was inevitably a little disappointed. He thought that this time he could find the leader directly and solve the problem of the food industry invasion completely. After all, I still want to go home and take a hot bath. But this is the end. When I first came, I heard from Shaki that Claudeville was going to be responsible for the area. Even if you can't find the leader, it's good to destroy a responsible den. Look back at the cooks in the room. If you can use this group of people for your own use. Even now, they have little value, but there is no guarantee that they will be useful in the future. Therefore, Lin Fan smiled and said, I heard that today is to announce that you will become the regional leader, right? If that's the case, then if I lose, I'll take this position. These cooks have to obey me unconditionally and follow me. 6. While all of a sudden, the whole room of cooks boiled again. What? Follow him? Why? Why should we go or stay in the hands of Claudeville? 99. Just a regional leader. Why follow Lin Fan? Yeah, isn't it taking us all as a bet? It can't be said that, as the regional leader, we can follow the arrangement. But if we are followers, we cannot accept it. Or, this guy can convince us today, otherwise, how can we listen to a yellow-haired boy? The cooks protested. Lin Fan turned his head and said calmly, if you're unwilling or have objections, you can stand up or get out of the kitchen. 9. Of course, as long as you show up, I dare to say that you will not be able to hang around in the future. Group of people speechless, he wanted to speak, but the words came back to his mouth. Suddenly someone said, I haven't even started to compare, and I don't know what the situation is now. 39. It didn't say that Claudeville would definitely lose. I can't say for sure. It hasn't started yet. Why are you so sad? After listening to the crowd, the cooks nodded. At this moment, Lin Fan turned back, looked at Claudeville and smiled and said, How is it? Claudeville replied, If you lose, you will save your life. Lin Fan nodded and said, No problem. If you lose, you have to explain it here today, and I will accept these people smoothly. 99, but not as a late-night cook. People in this room, without my arrangement, are not allowed to claim to be late-night cooks. Claudeville nodded and said, Stay if you want, and leave if you don't. After the voice fell, no one left. Most of them are curious about Lin Fan's cooking skills. After both parties confirmed it, it was time to cook the dishes. Came to the kitchen and looked at the cooking area. Fresh lamb happens to be in the kitchen. Lin Fan smiled and said, It doesn't need to be too much trouble. Just use it for the ingredients. Saying that, he pointed to the mutton in the ingredients area. Claudeville nodded without thinking. So, after the two were determined, they silently walked to the ingredients area, took an appropriate amount of mutton, and returned to the cooking table. After returning to the cooking table, Claudeville began to prepare 130 of his kitchen utensils. After a while, he saw a boxy box on his back. On both sides of the box, that is, on the shoulders, 2 hoses extend from a box on the left and right. At the front end of the hose, a needle is connected. This is the case on both sides. This cookware looks novel. At this time, someone said, This is Claudeville's nirvana, blood cooking. By using this needle-like kitchen utensil, blood will be drawn from the flesh. You can even extract the fat from the meat. The ingredients extracted in this way are processed and cooked, and finally a thick soup or seasoning is formed. The taste is absolutely delicious. It's all rumors. It's amazing. Claudeville didn't show much expression in the face of the praise from the cooks. I saw him at this moment, adjusted the lower angle of the box on his back, and then stretched the 2 hoses. Then from the other 2 sides, pull out 2 hoses. Insert one by one into the mutton. I saw that he had something like a switch in his hand and pressed it lightly. Kakaka, Chapter 209 Lamb and Onion Soup. Kakaka, just the blink of an eye. The syringe that Claudeville inserted into the mutton, along the hose, sent the absorbed blood and fat into the box on the back. After the operation in the box, it finally became a seasoning. The cooks here craned their necks to watch. After all, many people are seeing Claudeville cooking live for the first time. A rare opportunity. At this moment, Lin Fan's side was overshadowed. He did not employ 2 conspicuous cooking skills. Everything is normal. After getting the mutton, wash it quickly and cut it into pieces. This is completely different from Lin Fan's usual high-profile cooking style. Such a Lin Fan is hard to fathom. The style of cooking is different and not fixed. It is because of this that many people are curious. Some people even think that Lin Fan may be fishing and let the other party relax their vigilance, which can take advantage of it. Some cooks also disagreed. After all, Lin Fan has come all the way and won by strength, and won't use such means. But in fact, Lin Fan's cooking techniques are indeed very ordinary. Ordinary enough. Everyone felt that this did not match Lin Fan's cooking skills. I saw that after he quickly finished processing the mutton, he put it into a casserole and slowly boiled it over a high fire. During the cooking time, Lin Fan had nothing to do. As usual, I started playing with my phone. On Claudeville's side, it seems to be much more exciting, seeing that after he pulled out the liquid in the flesh, he processed it again. In the end, a large piece of mutton and the proposed seasoning are just a small bowl. It's full of essence in it. When I came, I saw him take another large piece of mutton. According to the previous operation method, another bowl of thick gravy was proposed. Everyone is very curious. What will he do next? Looking at Lin Fan, the mutton was still being stewed, and Claudeville was dissatisfied. Lin Fan's actions seemed to despise him. He didn't even use his cooking skills seriously. Lively contempt. Thinking of this, Claudeville drew countless pictures in his mind. We must successfully defeat Lin Fan and let this ignorant guy have a taste of failure. In the past, Lin Fan has a very high popularity. As long as he is defeated, then Claudeville will successfully inherit all the glory of Lin Fan. He will be the first person to defeat Lin Fan for the first time. This only proves that Claudeville's cooking is amazing. Whether it is in the food circle on the bright side or in the private circle of late-night cooks, Claude Weller, who can pass the stepping stone of Lin Fan, is a blockbuster. Thinking of this, Claudeville smiled maliciously. This is the first time that Lin Fan has shown a smile since he came in. This expression is strange, and it has some shrewd meaning. Time passed by minute. The two of them were cooking the dishes unhurriedly. Over time, the mutton in the Lin Fan casserole, the fragrance slowly overflows. Not overly amazing, normal lamb soup aroma. On Claudeville's side, through the extraction and screening of the extracted essence, in the soup made from it, the smell is obviously a little richer. At this time, the mutton pieces extracted by Claudeville were not wasted. He changed the knife again and cut the mutton into small pieces. And the mutton is stir-fried with the extracted seasoning for secondary processing. The scent hits everyone's heart. There is no mutton smell of mutton, but the taste of mutton itself is maintained. Cooking on this basis makes people covet the deliciousness of the pot just by smelling it. After an hour, Claudeville's blood dishes, through complex cooking techniques, finally entered the stage of plate placement. A spoonful of thick and beautiful soup was scooped into the soup plate. Then, put a piece of exquisite lamb meat. The aroma is tangy, and this group of people really want to taste it directly. And Lin Fan, after seeing Claudeville's cooking, looked at the time, and then got up slowly. Lift the lid of the casserole. Wow, there was nothing. But at the moment of unveiling, something familiar happened. A golden light burst out in an instant. Because it is too ordinary, no one cares whether Lin Fan's mutton soup will be the same as before. When the lid is lifted, it will glow. However, at this moment, everyone was surprised. Such an ordinary production process turned out to be a luminous cuisine. One can't help but sigh. Step by step, the mutton is washed and the ingredients are simmered in the pot. It is so unpretentious, and the result is a luminous dish. I saw it on the video before, and I thought it was a special effect added later. After knowing that countless people have confirmed it, I have doubts in my heart. After seeing it with my own eyes today, I was really shocked. Why does it glow? Why is it? I cook it the same way. Why doesn't it glow? Fragrant, unusual aroma. There seems to be wine in this mutton soup. What kind of fairy soup is this? At this moment, I really want to taste this delicious food like others. Even a small sip will be satisfied in the praise of a group of people. Claudeville was not too surprised. This is luminous cuisine, and I have learned about Lin Fan carefully before. If this pot of soup doesn't glow, then it's abnormal, and it shows Lin Fan's ignorance. Even if Claudeville won, he felt unconvinced. After all, Lin Fan didn't use his strength to fight him. But at this time, after seeing the light-emitting cuisine, Claudeville's heart sighed. It seems that Lin Fan doesn't despise him, it's just a cooking technique. Then, next, It is necessary to prove which one's dishes are more delicious and better. The two brought their dishes to one place. Claudeville's dishes are bright red, but look very appetizing. In the middle of a circle with pieces of meat, it is a delicious soup. Lin Fan's mutton soup is made of a small ceramic pot. In the clear mutton soup, there are fresh green onion leaves floating on the surface. Looks warm and gentle. The two exchange their dishes. Next is tasting time. Claudeville, holding up the small cup, has not approached. The fresh aroma of mutton comes with a hint of wine aroma. JIC. Chapter 210 for now on. They're all my people. Please subscribe. I haven't tasted it yet, but the aroma is tangy. Claudeville stirred gently with a spoon. The clear mutton soup exudes a more intense, misty aroma. There are also green onion leaves floating on the soup, which is a refreshing fragrance. Claudeville, take the mask off. The spoon scooped a spoonful, blew lightly, and took a small sip. At the moment of entry, the deliciousness of the lamb soup spreads from the tip of the tongue, extends throughout the mouth. It's all about the delicious taste of lamb soup. It is the taste of fresh and high-quality mutton, fresh and not stinky. Being able to boil mutton like this in a short period of time is definitely not something that ordinary people can do. After the entrance, the fresh aroma is another story. After swallowing, a warm current flows from the throat to the stomach, and the whole person feels very warm. And the mutton inside, which has been completely stewed. The most important thing is that red wine is also added, a little red wine, which makes this bowl of soup more rich and mellow. Delicious, really delicious. 99. Claudeville involuntarily praised. Wow, the other cooks boiled again. To be praised by Claudeville, this bowl of lamb soup with green onion is definitely not ordinary. 130. What I can't believe is that this sentence was actually uttered by Claudeville himself, which proves the strength of Lin Fan's bowl of sheep soup. 5. Just by looking at it, you can tell the level of this dish. Now it's Claudeville's dish. What kind of evaluation will Lin Fan give? During the discussion, Lin Fan picked up the mutton. Although he has super five senses, Lin Fan already knew the taste of this dish in the process of making it by Claudeville. But it's always a process. Surprised mouth, chew carefully. Sure enough, the taste and taste were not at all different for what he imagined. Delicious is delicious, and Claudeville's cooking is good. But it depends on who the opponent is. If today Claudeville's opponent is someone else, then there is no doubt that he has won. It was sucked out by him with a syringe, and the processed seasoning was matched with the mutton pieces, slightly grilled to infuse flavor into the lamb. It can only be said that on such delicious lamb, it is the icing on the cake. Here comes the thick lamb soup. There are also chopped mushrooms inside. After the blood and fat are drawn out, they are melted, and then some chopped mushrooms and chopped onions are added. The taste is very rich, and the taste is very delicious if you eat it with lamb chops. It definitely tastes good. After eating here, Lin Fan said calmly, "It's delicious, and the cooking skills are also good, but if it's a competition to test your cooking skills, your dish is still lacking." Wow, the originally boiling crowd started to discuss again, and they were still a little excited. What nonsense! Now that you have admitted that it is delicious, you actually say that it is lacking. That's it? This kid is immoral. It's obvious that it's intentional. Claudeville gave high marks to his cooking, and conversely, this guy actually wants to be black? 39, doing such a thing to win? Isn't it a bit too much? This is also worthy of being called a chef. I have to doubt that Lin Fan's previous competition was won by such shameful means. I think so too. Otherwise, how could it be possible to maintain a 100% win rate and never lose? It's really too much. This kid really doesn't play cards according to common sense. It's too rude, and he's so blatant. The cooks in a room raised doubts and protested. Claudeville, looked calm and replied, "Boy, it's a bit outrageous for you to say that. My cooking can be said to have extracted all the essence of the mutton chunks and refined them carefully. You say that you are more demanding as a cooking competition. I can understand, but I have not denied your cooking." 99. How can you belittle my cooking so much? 99 saying that. The other cooks followed suit. Seeing this, Lin Fan stopped Shaki, who wanted to argue. as expected, which cook, especially one with a sense of superiority, would admit that his cooking is flawed. Afterwards, Lin Fan smiled calmly. I made it very clear just now. Since it is a culinary showdown, it must be the ultimate in ingredients and cooking techniques. Speaking of which, I have to mention the spice inequality. Shaki was surprised. Spice inequality? It's the theory that through the different combinations of spices, different properties are produced, thereby changing the taste and taste. Lin Fan defaults. He continued, since it is the ultimate cooking, how can you ignore the most important one? That's the temperature of the environment. Mutton, exposing to cold air like this for even a second without any constant temperature measures, can completely change the taste of the dish itself. Point 35. People like you who pursue the ultimate in cooking and extract the essence of mutton for cooking must not know this problem. However, I don't know if you're too confident or for some reason. Ignoring this most important step is already a big taboo. Next, let alone the issue of the choice of spices, it's really bad. 35. Having said that, Lin Fan looked at the kitchen utensils next to him and walked over. If you don't believe me, I can remake this dish according to your cooking technique, and you will know the difference. Claudeville shook his head and said, it's really arrogant. Repeat my cooking? Let's not say whether you can know my recipe. Whether you can use this kitchen utensils well is another matter. It's just a slap in the face, Lin Fan said with a smile. Whether or not he uttered wild words, we will see in a while. Chapter 211, exactly the same copy. Really amazing. Please subscribe. After speaking, Lin Fan ignored the others. Just silently walked to the cooking table. He took a large piece of lamb and took a quick glance at Claudeville's kitchen utensils. Just when Claudeville was about to speak, he wanted to remind Lin Fan. See, Lin Fan has the kitchen utensils on his back. There's no strangeness at all, and even the technique is very skilled, and the position of each needle can be mobilized. Finally, firmly and quickly inserted the needle into the mutton. At this time, Lin Fan smiled and said, according to the part of the mutton, the essence extracted is different, and then essence from different parts will eventually be matched with different types of spices with corresponding properties. The mutton soup made in this way can be called the best. Someone retorted at this time, don't just say it and don't do it. If it's like you said, you'll know when it's finished. Lin Fan just glanced at him and didn't pay any attention to him at all. At this time, Lin Fan was sophisticated and pressed the button of the kitchen utensils. Ka-ka-ka, whoa-whoa. Whoosh whoosh, the fat and blood that was sucked out entered the box behind him. As a result, a brief and simple machining process takes place. In the end, it showed up in another form. The essence of seasoning extracted from mutton. At this time, Lin Fan carefully matched different spices. Each flavor, the sequence, and how much to use are very strict. Not even 0.001 grams. In addition, according to the corresponding attributes of the mutton, the spices are selected to match it, and the final blending is carried out. Soon, in the blink of an eye, the condiment condensed into a small bowl was displayed in front of everyone. Unlike what Claudeville did, this bowl of Lin Fan was just placed on the cooking table, and the aroma of the seasoning could be vaguely smelled. The crowd couldn't help but discuss. This fragrance suddenly reminds me of barbecue sauce. If it can be used in roasting lamb, just thinking about it, it must be a rare delicacy. Not only can it be used as a barbecue sauce, but I even think that using it as a marinade and cooking it in the same way as in other cuisines tastes amazing. Is it even a seasoning that can be made into soup? It tastes delicious. Each seasoning is very distinct and can be distinguished. The most surprising thing is that after these seasonings are mixed together, it turns out to be such a smell. 99, awesome. Lin Fan is really amazing. 99, the crowd was full of praise. This surprised Claudeville on the side. Just like those who lost Shiji in the past. In the beginning, they never felt that they would lose. I will lose to this teenage boy in front of me. So does Claudeville. The most incomprehensible thing happened. His kitchen utensils can be used freely in Lin Fan's hands, and even the recipes of ingredients. And Lin Fan has been able to improve on his recipe. So he has this amazing seasoning. At this time, Lin Fan continued to extract the essence of the mutton. This time, it was different from condensing it into seasoning just now. Lin Fan draws more blood with a little bit of fat. This is to improve the taste of the soup because of the fat after the finished product comes out. 10,000 red, blood drawn from the capillaries of the mutton. Then, we'll be using the lamb that has been drained. Brush it with the concentrated essence seasoning that you just matched, layer by layer, and repeatedly knead the mutton pieces to make them evenly flavored. Next, Lin Fan put the lamb into the oven. When everyone thought he was going to roast the lamb, bang, a loud bang. This made everyone in the house scared to death. One by one, their faces turned pale, panicked, and they were ready to flee. I thought it was because of Lin Fan's improper operation, or because of a problem with the oven, which caused the explosion. Afterwards, smoke billowed from inside the house. However, surprisingly, in this thick smoke, it was not as others imagined. It was choking and suffocating. It actually had a strong aroma. Someone was surprised. Could it be an explosive dish similar to soldier shaki? Wow, for a while, everyone stopped. Although the room was billowing with thick smoke, the exhaust fan did not stop for a moment. 0. Flowers 00. Everyone enjoyed the scent of someone until the smoke gradually dissipated and their sight slowly recovered. Only then did it become clear that Lin Fan was standing in front of the oven. Open the oven door. Wow. Another thick mist with an aroma that no one had ever smelled before rushed towards the face in an instant. This aroma, obviously taken out alone, can distinguish the varieties of spices one by one. But it is this combination that produces such a magical aroma. Alluring, very alluring. At this time, someone said, no wonder the army Chow Shaki lost. Lin Fan actually combined all these techniques together. Afterwards, see Lin Fan taking out the mutton that was heated instantly after the blasting. On the surface of the mutton block, it has been grilled and crispy, and the fat is still bubbling on the meat, making a sound. It's really melodious. The scent has filled the room. The steps are the same, but the finished product presented is completely different from what Claudeville did. It's no exaggeration to say that it's totally two dishes. Later, Lin Fan made blood soup. Add a little red wine to taste. Add the essence extracted from the mutton just now, and pour the rest into the soup. Again, a small ceramic stove was used to heat it at the bottom. Pour the soup into a large round plate, surrounded by chunks of roast lamb. At this time, the mutton was still making a sound and the sheep soup is obtained in the middle. And because of the constant temperature, the bubbles are gently tumbling. The whole dish was quickly completed under the eyes of everyone. Without any delay, Lin Fan is like making his own food. At this time, this perfect and tempting dish was brought to Claudeville. Look carefully like his cooking, but not like his cooking. The similarity is that Lin Fan did not change the appearance of the dish. The difference is that this dish is completely different, just another dish. From the smell, the production process behind, to the display at the end, it is completely different. Without hesitation, Claudeville picked up the spoon. Chapter 212 successfully gained fans and made the next plan. Please subscribe. Claudeville took a small sip, immediately stunned. The taste of this soup is exactly the same. No, it should be said that Lin Fan has upgraded and improved when the recipes are similar. The taste is markedly improved. As soon as you enter it, the smoothness of the mutton soup instantly occupies the entire mouth. It's not the clear taste of the stewed mutton soup, but the taste of the three after the fat particles and minced meat coagulate with the sheep blood. And the most incredible thing is that this combination, as well as the combination of spices, is something Claudeville never imagined. The same recipe can make such a huge difference. Claudeville was stunned for a moment. When everyone saw this, at the request of everyone, Lin Fan divided the excess soup and then picked a few dishes, 147, to taste. The lucky ones who were selected picked up their soup bowls and took a sip. Wow, moment, just a moment. The expressions of these cooks immediately became much gentler, even with a look of intoxication. I felt as if I was in a pasture. It's full of carefree lambs, top lambs. Me too. I also came to the ranch you mentioned. Is that person in front of you? Hey, I'm here too, wow. Hinking grassland. The little lambs are happily eating grass and come to play with us. Only in such a high-quality environment, the sheep raised can be the best mutton. Delicious, rich in flavor, very grainy in the soup, and full of texture. I have never had such a perfect soup, 35 a group of people said, and they picked up a piece of mutton one after another. Take a bite. Kakaka. The crisp exterior made a crisp and pleasant sound. Then, after biting through the skin of the mutton, the tender meat inside, with gravy, instantly overflowed. Perfectly roasted lamb. A new spice mix. Let the people who eat it become more intoxicated on the basis of intoxication. This mutton uses the extracted, special seasoning essence, marinated for a short time, and then put in the refrigerator to refrigerate for a while, so that the mutton tastes perfectly and the taste is really unprecedented. Not only that, after the mutton is marinated and delicious, the temperature rises instantly because of the explosion. Only in this way, the instant cooking can make such a soft and tender mutton. In this mutton, the blasting temperature and time must be well controlled, otherwise, all previous efforts will be lost. This is also the strength of Lin Fan. So, is this dish better than Claudeville? It shouldn't be a good comment before I taste Claudeville's cuisine, right? Although I think what Lin Fan did, it should be the highest limit. While everyone was discussing, Claudeville expressed dissatisfaction. He recooked the remaining ingredients from his previous cooking at the fastest speed. This should be rare. When cooking competitions, it takes a long time and is more complicated. After a while, Claudeville brought the cooked dishes to the other cooks, with a hint of disdain. Dissatisfied, he even asked this group of shrimp soldiers and crabs to comment on his dishes in the future. Ultimately, Claudeville added, "You'd better taste it carefully. Taste it well." After he finished speaking, he stopped talking. Several cooks looked at each other and were obviously uncomfortable with Claudeville's attitude. I didn't say anything, just took a bite and tasted it. What is this? The cook, who was the first to enter, vomited out instantly after eating it. This action surprised the whole room. Claudeville was shocked, looked at the cook and scolded, "Boy, you are insulting the cook." The cook was not frightened and retorted, "It's no use threatening me." 99. Claudeville's recipe is a failure. Perhaps this dish was perfect before Lin Fan's cooking, but after comparing, this dish of Claudeville is simply impossible to eat. I'm not lying. If you don't believe me, you can try it. 35. The cook said decisively 0. Other cooks also tasted it one after another. Next, those who tasted Claudeville's cuisine spit out all the soup that was in their mouths. This action shocked everyone at once. Everyone couldn't believe it. With Claudeville's strength, even if he cooked a failed meal, it was impossible to say that it was difficult to swallow. However, this scene just happened. Claudeville didn't believe it. He quickly picked up the spoon and drank a spoonful of soup. After an entrance, it was this taste, however, that he even felt disgusting about his own cooking. If you evaluate this dish alone, there is nothing. It can be regarded as a fine product. However, I was thinking back to the food I tasted from Lin Fan just now. In contrast to this, Claudeville instantly felt that the cooking he made was completely unworthy of the table. Everyone threw down the cutlery. So disappointed, Claudeville, to make such a dish. Really, if I hadn't tasted the dishes made by Lin Fan, the exact same dishes would have such a big difference. 99. It's 0.0. I tasted the food made by Lin Fan, Claudeville, and it was a disaster. It's so unpalatable. It's like putting a stamp on my mind that it's unpalatable, and I don't want to touch it again. It's not just comments from other cooks. Even Claudeville, after putting down the tableware, calmly said, "Why? Why is the food I cook presumably so hard to swallow? Wow, instant boiling." Victory is decided. Lin Fan looked at the man in front of him and smiled calmly. Once again, the house cheered. Cheers to Lin Fan. Lin Fan succeeded and captured a large number of new fans. Chapter 213, Tyrannical Mad, G. Bonnie Higher, subscribed. Lin Fan really opened our eyes today. Indeed, if I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, seeing that Claudeville and him were mortal enemies, I really couldn't believe that Lin Fan would be able to pick out each other's cooking recipes just by looking at it with his eyes. Yeah, it's really amazing. And in such a short period of time, and improvements have been made. This kind of imitating other people's methods, improving it, and finally perfecting the cooking is directly unparalleled. So, the late-night cook only follows the person who convinces us, and in this matchup, I am willing to follow Lin Fan. Me too. I don't accept refutation. In the middle of the night, the cooks were shouting, whistling, and cheering. There was jubilation in the villa. Shaki on the side heaved a sigh of relief. Even if you believe in Lin Fan's craftsmanship, but your opponent is Claudeville, you will inevitably be a little worried. It was not until the results came out that Shaki was completely relieved. At this time, I secretly rejoiced, and sure enough, I did not follow the wrong person. Lin Fan is indeed different from other 08 people. Even if it is Saibo Chuyang, I thought Saibo Chuyang was a very powerful cook, but it wasn't until I met Lin Fan. Shaki's idea was completely subverted. Lin Fan is the very powerful cook. In the crowd of people, Lin Fan stood up. He will speak next to talk about the relationship with the cook. Cooks are intruders, a group excluded from the food circle. If Lin Fan publicly admitted at this time, as the area manager of the cook, or he directly took over this group of people, in disguise as the default, Lin Fan himself is also a late-night cook. In this way, it is no different from this group of people. Therefore, even if this group of people has value in the future, they should be eliminated from the late-night cook at this moment. Therefore, Lin Fan said calmly, "As you wish, I can become your responsibility and lead you, but I need to explain here. The premise is that you must quit the late-night cooking, or even don't allow these things to happen in my place in the future." The cooks were due and arguing. Withdrawing from the late-night cook? How can we do this? We all joined the late-night cook for the sake of our own chef ideals. Yeah, in this way, we lose the meaning of living. The spirit of the cook is all we have. I can't say that. In fact, I don't reject the matter of quitting the cook. As a late-night cook, we have the persistence and belief of a late-night cook in the matter of cooking. If we replace it like this, we can't accept it for a while. Yeah, I can't accept it either. What the hell is this? Unless we find the meaning of cooking again. 35 the cooks were impassioned. The more they talked, the more excited they became, the more outrageous they became. Lin Fan took a deep breath and said calmly, "I don't like to repeat my words. 95, I've said it very clearly, but I can repeat it at the end. 35, if you want to follow me, you must stop being a late-night cook from now on, and don't allow what happened before my place. If you don't like it, I won't force it. The road is up to the sky. You can go wherever you fall in love. Whether it's dead or alive, someone will come to accept it later." 35 Lin Fan's words were like a sudden burst of cold air. In an instant, the temperature in the boiling house dropped. The crowd is at a loss for words. After a while, someone suddenly stood up and said, "I think there is nothing wrong with what Lin Fan said. What is the spirit of a late-night cook? It is the highest respect for cooking, and no one can sully the cooking. I don't think this matter can only be achieved by joining the late-night cook." Similarly, Lin Fan's cooking skills are obvious to all, so as long as you can follow Lin Fan, you can also pass on the spirit of the cook. 5 This sentence instantly broke the deadlock. In an instant, the house boiled again, and everyone expressed their opinions and expressed their approval. No problem. I think there is no problem with this thing. 35 I agree, I want to follow Lin Fan. Even though he is young, isn't his amazing cooking skills the spirit of a chef? 35 Yes, follow Lin Fan. This matter is decided. No matter what you think, I decided to follow him. 5 Shaki was shocked by the sudden change of painting style. Unexpectedly, Lin Fan's appeal is so powerful. This once again made her firm in her heart, and there was absolutely nothing wrong with following Lin Fan. Probably the luckiest thing in her life. Claudeville, who was on the side, failed to react from the beginning to the end. The gap is too big. I never thought it would become like this. Then, just wanted to open 147 mouths, but was stopped by Lin Fan. As for you, didn't we agree at the beginning? Willing to admit defeat. Anyway, in what way? Do it yourself. If you don't do as promised, then there should be other cooks to supervise next. After Lin Fan finished speaking, he turned his head and walked away. The other cooks also left. The remaining cooks looked at Claudeville, the man who used to be their leader. After just 2 hours, he instantly fell to the abyss. A man smiled and said, "No way. This is the first task that Lin Fan gave after taking over the cook. Senior, stop dawdling, it's useless." Lin Fan came out of the villa and looked at his phone. Looking at Shaki next to him, he said, "The next person, she is not in Tokyo. Speaking of which, it may be a little hard to find her, and this person is also very interesting. The tyrannical Jabani Hale. You said, will you meet Saibwa Chayong there?" 35, Chapter 214. It turns out that this is the real conspiracy. Subscribe. After listening to Lin Fan's words, Shaki thought about it and shook her head. "I think he shouldn't go." 35. After all, the late-night cook walks all over the country, and Bonnie Heyer's place is just one of them. It's impossible for Saibwa Chayong to waste time and rush over to watch it, unless Bonnie Hale is as good and controversial as you are. Lin Fan was stunned after hearing this. Unexpectedly, in addition to talking seriously, Shaki did not forget to praise herself. The two then chatted for a while. After confirming the location of Bonnie Heyer, she is ready to go early the next day. At this moment, Lin Fan's phone rang. When I took it out, it was Yukihira SMA. Lin Fan hasn't contacted him since the chef's elite competition ended in the school district. I don't know what happened this time. Lin Fan picked up the phone. "Hey." The other party's tone was clearly anxious. Lin Fan replied, "Is something wrong?" "Suki should be fine. They're members of Polar Star Dorm." Yukihira SMA thought for a while and replied, "There is indeed something wrong, but it has nothing to do with Suki. It's my father." Yukihira SMA said this and hesitated again. Then he continued, "I actually don't want to take up your time. After all, you're doing Suki now, but my father." Lin Fan replied, "What's the matter? You directly say. What happened to your father? Had a relationship with him before. He's a good guy. Everyone is a member of Polar Star Dorm. And if something happens, everyone is here." Yukihira SMA was moved after hearing this and replied, "I still have a hard time accepting this matter, but maybe I can help you too. My father lost when he was eating halberds with others, but the other party, father said it was my brother." 35 Lin Fan was stunned. And this whole thing. Then Yukihira SMA continued, "The next thing I want to talk about is my younger brother, whose name is Saibwa Chayong." Lin Fan immediately became vigilant when he heard the name. "Saibwa Chayong? You mean that your younger brother's name is Saibwa Chayong?" Yukihira SMA responded, "Yes. I heard what Tian Sua said yesterday. You mentioned to her that the leader of the late-night cook is Saibwa Chayong, so I was thinking it wouldn't be such a coincidence, would it? But I don't think it's such a coincidence. Is it the same person? Same name, same chef. In the food industry, such highly similar chefs should be rare, correct? I need to say one more thing here. Do you still remember? Did Xingjin Suki have a young teacher?" Chapter 214. It turns out that this is the real conspiracy. Subscribe. After listening to Lin Fan's words, Shaki thought about it and shook her head. "I think he shouldn't go." 35. After all, the late-night cook walks all over the country, and Bonnie Heyer's place is just one of them. It's impossible for Saibwa Chayong to waste time and rush over to watch it, unless Bonnie Hale is as good and controversial as you are. Lin Fan was stunned after hearing this. Unexpectedly, in addition to talking seriously, Shaki did not forget to praise herself. The two then chatted for a while. After confirming the location of Bonnie Heyer, she is ready to go early the next day. At this moment, Lin Fan's phone rang. When I took it out, it was Yukihira SMA. Lin Fan hasn't contacted him since the chef's elite competition ended in the school district. I don't know what happened this time. Lin Fan picked up the phone. "Hey." The other party's tone was clearly anxious. Lin Fan replied, "Is something wrong?" "Suki should be fine. They're members of Polar Star Dorm." Yukihira SMA thought for a while and replied, "There is indeed something wrong, but it has nothing to do with Suki. It's my father." Yukihira SMA said this and hesitated again. Then he continued, "I actually don't want to take up your time. After all, you're doing Suki now, but my father." Lin Fan replied, What's the matter? You directly say. What happened to your father? Had a relationship with him before. He's a good guy. Everyone is a member of Polar Star Dorm. And if something happens, everyone is here. Yukihira SMA was moved after hearing this and replied, I still have a hard time accepting this matter, but maybe I can help you too. My father lost when he was eating halberds with others, but the other party, father said it was my brother. 35 Lin Fan was stunned. And this whole thing. Then Yukihira SMA continued. The next thing I want to talk about is my younger brother, whose name is Tsaibo Cheyong. Lin Fan immediately became vigilant when he heard the name. Tsaibo Cheyong. You mean that your younger brother's name is Tsaibo Cheyong? Yukihira SMA responded. Yes. I heard what Tian Sua said yesterday. You mentioned to her that the leader of the late-night cook is Tsaibo Cheyong, so I was thinking it wouldn't be such a coincidence, would it? But I don't think it's such a coincidence. Is it the same person? Same name, same chef. In the food industry, such highly similar chefs should be rare. Correct. I need to say one more thing here. Do you still remember, did Xingjin Tsuki have a young teacher? Then you were expelled from Tsuki by you. Lin Fan did not speak, and continued to wait for Yukihira SMA to speak. Is it Suzuki or, I forget, but I vaguely remember his real name. Is it Tsaibo Cheyong? If it is really the same person, then this matter is not difficult to understand. 35 Lin Fan suddenly realized that although he couldn't remember the name, he could recall the appearance of that person, wearing a cap and a scarf around your neck. In short, this feature is similar to what Shaki said. If so, then it was all planned from the very beginning. Tsaibo Cheyong infiltrated Tsuki in the name of a mentor. After challenging many teachers, he finally pointed the finger at himself. However, Tsaibo Cheyong's remarks at that time, rare cooking resources should be in the hands of a few people. Only the gifted are worthy of it. For the rest of the mediocre cooks, just follow the steps. Such remarks made him have to think of another person. Nakiri Thistle. Thinking of this, Lin Fan seemed to have some clues. The confusion in the past slowly began to become clear. If all this was planned by Nakiri Thistle. In other words, there are some ulterior secrets and agreements between the two. Let Tsaibo Cheyong sneak into Tsuki and climb up layer by layer through Shurji. In the end, he and Azumi Nakiri, the former Elite 10 in training. In this way, you can control the entire Tsuki in one fell swoop. No wonder, thinking of this, Lin Fan's thoughts became much clearer. Next is the invasion of the late-night cooks. And if they join forces with Nakiri Thistle, so why indulge late-night cooks to wreak havoc on the food world? There's only one reason for this. Maybe the two finally broke down. Or maybe Tsaibo Cheyong had his own plan from the beginning, and helping Nakiri Thistle was just part of his plan. Both have their own interests, so they hit it off. Thinking of this, Lin Fan is interrupted by Yukihira SMA. So, Lin Fan replied, grave accent, I have a general understanding of the ins and outs of this matter. If it is said, and I'm going to consign next, there's a more important cook there. If you can find the whereabouts of Nakiri Thistle, if you can let him speak, maybe the next thing will be much smoother. Yukihira SMA agreed without hesitation. Lin Fan and Shaki went to the restaurant that Bonnie Hire was going to invade next. Lin Fan and Shaki came to Kansai together. Under Shaki's guidance, without much effort, he successfully found Barney Hire. When I saw her, I saw that the door of the restaurant was closed. I saw the kitchen from the side window, and there were 3 or 2 people in it. A girl with a rabbit head hat was talking to the middle-aged man in front of her. No doubt, needless to say, that person was Barney Hale. Lin Fan stood in front of the window and said calmly, hello. Instead of eating halberds with them, I think you should be more interested in eating halberds with me. The voice fell, and the people in the kitchen turned their heads. With a puzzled look on his face, he looked at the stranger outside the window. Lin Fan pointed with a finger. The middle-aged man inside looked puzzled, but he still walked out of the kitchen and opened the door for Lin Fan. After opening the door, Lin Fan saw the man. Without waiting for the other party to speak, Lin Fan took the initiative to introduce. Hello, my name is Lin Fan. Chapter 215 Flame Roasted Suckling Pig. Subscribe. Hello, my name is Lin Fan. Lin Fan smiled politely. With a puzzled look on his face, the man quickly looked at Lin Fan. Then, he suddenly showed an expression of sudden realization. Oh, Lin Fan, you are Lin Fan. Just the hottest chef in the food world right now. 35, oh my God. I'm sorry, why are you here? If nothing else, after graduation, you should be one of the most sought-after chefs in this class. After speaking, the man continued. By the way, I forgot to introduce, I am the owner of this store. Having said this, the boss stopped talking. He looked at the kitchen, a little embarrassed. After all, Lin Fan suddenly visited, and he didn't have anything to do with Barney Hale. Instead, I wonder if Lin Fan heard that his restaurant is very famous in the Kansai generation, so he came to taste it. If so, it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. As long as Lin Fan can make dishes that satisfy Lin Fan, his restaurant is not only in Kansai Fire. Even 147 can be ranked in the National Food Circle. Hey, Lin Fan came a wrong time. The uninvited guest inside was looking for trouble for him. It even affects Lin Fan. The restaurant owner is thinking about whether to put the halberd food aside first. And at this moment, Barney Hale came out of the kitchen. See Lin Fan. Lin Fan jumped in front of her and said, "First time meeting, Barney Hire, I'm Lin Fan." Barney Hire was stunned and looked at Lin Fan quickly. The boss looked at Lin Fan in surprise. They actually knew each other. Later, Barney Hire smiled and said, "So you're a Lin Fan, you can't tell. You are really young and handsome. 35. At your age, it's hard to imagine that you were the one who defeated the core members of the late-night cook one after another. In this way, your strength is indeed very powerful. They lost, more or less because they underestimated the enemy." Barney Hale spoke calmly. The boss seems to understand. The two people in front of them seemed to know each other, but they couldn't see AAA that they were a group. However, there's really no way to link the two as enemies. So the boss wondered, "Lin Fan, you are here this time?" Lin Fan pointed at Barney Hire and smiled. "It's just for her. If I'm one step late, I'm afraid you, boss, will fall for her plan too." The boss looked surprised. Barney Hale smiled and said, "How can it be called a conspiracy? It was originally voluntary. I didn't force the boss to agree to eat the halberd with me. On the contrary, it is the people of this country who are born with self-confidence. No, it should be said that they are arrogant. I am so arrogant that I don't believe that my cooking is inferior to others, and even if I don't admit it, my skills are inferior to others. So, as long as I stimulate it a little and use the agitation method, I will make them willing to eat halberds with me. In this way, it is easy to get the restaurant over. Don't steal or rob, just get it." Barney Hale looked at the boss with a smile, although the boss was too shocked to speak at this time. He didn't expect that behind the scenes, Xinxiang turned out to be like this. What he didn't expect was that Barney Hire could be so straightforward and tell her plan directly. It's unbelievable. However, it all happened for real. At this moment, it seems that Barney Hire's interest is not in this restaurant. Immediately transferred to Lin Fan. "I know the purpose of your coming here, and the affairs between you and the other cooks have long been known to everyone. 55, so don't talk nonsense. Let's just eat the halberd." 35. Rather than wasting time with this rubbish chef, I am more interested in you. After defeating you, I will not only be famous in the world of cooking, but even in the entire food industry," Barney Hale said proudly. The restaurateur stopped in his ears. It turned out to be so. Lin Fan calmly smiled and said, "Since you already know my purpose, then don't talk nonsense. Just eat the halberd." 99. As for your personal grievance with this boss, let's wait for us to eat halberds and play to see if you still have life or compare with the boss. Barney Hire smiled and said, "I heard that you are very arrogant and speak very arrogantly. I realized it today. It doesn't matter. You won't be able to cry in a while." Lin Fan shrugged his shoulders and said with a smile, "Who can't cry? See you in an hour." Ding dong. At this moment, the doorbell outside the door rang. The restaurant owner stretched his head out to look at it and smiled. "Oh, it's the one who delivered the ingredients." 35. Just right, there are fresh suckling pigs and beef and mutton. 39. With that said, the boss opened the door. The delivery man looked inside the restaurant. It was quiet and there were no diners. There was only a strange girl with a rabbit head hat on, a handsome boy. Seems to be saying something. Although the atmosphere was a bit strange, the delivery man didn't care. After all, this is not his jurisdiction. So, after unloading the fresh ingredients, put them in the kitchen, settle the bill with the boss, and leave. At this time, Lin Fan walked to the ingredients area and saw the suckling pig. This is what I saw as soon as I entered the door. A first-class suckling pig. There are also quantitative beef and mutton, chicken, duck, fish, etc. All the freshest ingredients. Lin Fan's brief looked around again. Huge kitchen and an oven twice as big as usual. Not to mention roasting a suckling pig. Even if a whole pig is put in directly, there is no pressure. Then, Lin Fan patted the suckling pig on the back and said with a smile, "Okay, let's start then. The time is 1 hour. The ingredients are whatever you want. Is there a lot of room to play like this? Don't worry about being unfair to me. I heard that you're good at tyranny of ingredients, right? It just so happens that I also have some research on explosive cooking. Then let's see whose cooking techniques are more amazing, and the food presented in the end is more delicious." After hearing this, the restaurant owner was pleasantly surprised. "Then what are you going to do with this suckling pig?" Lin Fan laughed. Flame roast suckling pig. Chapter 216 More Than Brutal Cooking. Subscription. Flame roast suckling pig? The restaurant owner was surprised. Then he said, "There's an oven in the restaurant, but..." Recalling Lin Fan's flame cooking before, specific kitchen utensils were required. "I need a spacious place. The boss's kitchen can satisfy things in this venue, but it's just the flames. That exaggerated cooking method may not satisfy Lin Fan, and it will affect his cooking." The boss told Lin Fan about his concerns. Lin Fan laughed after hearing this. "Boss, you've been worrying too much. It doesn't matter. Flame cooking, it doesn't have to be so exaggerated props. Although I can't use it, but this time I made this flame-roasted suckling pig." Lin Fan thought for a while and replied, "Although such exaggerated props are not needed, the final effect will not be bad at all. So, having said that," Lin Fan looked at the kitchen, shook his head, and said, "It may take up your kitchen a little bit. But don't worry, I will have someone clean your place afterwards, and the compensation will not be less. Anyway, definitely restore the kitchen to what it is now." 39 Lin Fan took out his phone to take pictures while talking. Take pictures of every corner of the kitchen. It is very convenient to turn back and have people come over to deal with it. After hearing this, the boss said with a stunned expression, "No, no, no. It stands to reason that you should have helped me with cleaning up the kitchen. The cleaners of the restaurant, that is their responsibility. You shouldn't be." The boss was puzzled and continued, "Don't you want to destroy this kitchen?" 99 Lin Fan smiled and shook his head. "That's not enough." The boss nodded and said, "Even if it is, it doesn't matter. I will handle it. You could just use it." Having said that, look at Bonnie Heyer and said, "I heard that she is good at using tyrannical cooking. I'm actually more worried than your words. This girl will be violent in my kitchen. My kitchen utensils and so on are all top-level supporting equipment. If a cook like you, Lin Fan, is damaged for a special reason, I can understand." 35 only. For someone who doesn't respect the ingredients and has ulterior motives, it's a shame for the chef industry. The boss said angrily. Bonnie Heyer smiled and said, "Shame is not shame. Won't you see the difference after eating the halberd?" I said, "As a chef, it's enough to present the perfect and delicious dishes. Why bother with those other things?" Saying that, Bonnie Heyer took out the package she brought and opened it. In an instant, it appeared in front of everyone's eyes, and it was like a miniature version of a guillotine. On the wooden frame on both sides, a sharp knife is supported. The knife has a handle on it. It seems that you only need to put the ingredients on the guillotine and hold the handle with your hands. With a little force, you can cut the meat completely. The restaurant owner looked surprised and leaned over to take a closer look. Reaching out his hand, he touched the blade lightly. Click! Suddenly, blood flowed out of the fingers. The sharpness of the blade frightened him. With a proud face, Bonnie Heyer gently wiped the blade with a towel. "This is one of my kitchen utensils as a tyrannical cuisine, so how can I not have this guillotine meat slicer?" Lin Fan, boy, just keep your eyes open. Saying that, Bonnie Heyer has already walked to the ingredients area. Likewise, seeing Lin Fan pick a suckling pig, she did not hesitate to pick one. Lin Fan didn't say anything, took the suckling pig, and started cleaning according to the steps. Then, when Lin Fan was about to go to the cooking area again, Barney Hale started using her odd set of kitchen utensils. Sure enough, a whole piece of meat was placed under the guillotine. Kakaka, 3 times 5 and 2. The piece of meat was cut into several pieces. But next, Bonnie Heyer's actions are completely contrary to her dress. Seeing her put the meat back under the guillotine. Bang, 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 knife in hand. Knife after knife, the knife was pulled down, and the speed was getting faster and faster. The meat chopped by the knife slowly turned into minced meat. Thorough. As for Flower 00 on the other hand, Barney Heyer looked excited, as if she had found joy in it. While chopping the meat, he said, "This is the core of tyrannical cooking. Cooking food is pleasurable, and like this, it makes the cook happy. In this way, the cooking ingredients produced will definitely be the most delicious in this world. After all, the ingredients are also made in such a joyful process," Barney Heyer said confidently. The restaurant owner opened his mouth in surprise when he saw this. This is too exaggerated. Obviously, it's fine. Chop this piece of meat directly into minced meat. Why do you have to use such a brutal method? Is it just so that the cook who cooks it can feel happy when cooking? 99. I can't comment on such a feeling. With that, the restaurant owner turned his head to Lin Fan. Seeing Lin Fan here is much more normal. Silently processing the ingredients, the suckling pig was cut in half and placed on a grill, brushed with fragrant secret barbecue sauce. Then, I thought Lin Fan was going to take it to the oven. Unexpectedly, Lin Fan put down the ingredients in his hand and walked to the cooking area. Picked the largest piece of beef. The position on the corbel was chosen with fat. From the beef shank, cut a piece of meat about the size of a suckling pig, with belt fat. Here, the boss is stunned. Lin Fan's knife skills are only for a moment. The boss didn't even know what was going on. Just in the blink of an eye, he saw Lin Fan cutting and handling the beef, and yet to respond to the question. See Lin Fan walking back silently. I thought about making this whole piece of beef into a cloth bag. Wrap the whole suckling pig inside. The boss was surprised. Oh my God, is there such a way? It's never been added. Roast suckling pig is wrapped in beef and roasted. What about the beef outside? Can it be cooked like this? Chapter 217, I thought the oven blew up. Please subscribe. The boss asked suspiciously. Lin Fan said with a smile, "Of course it can be cooked, otherwise it wouldn't do it. I never do anything I'm not sure about." 35. The good show is yet to come. It must be 100 times better than this young lady's cooking. 35. Lin Fan said, showing his signature smile again. There is no idea of explaining more, and he still handles the ingredients himself. Seeing this, Barney Heyer didn't mean to laugh, staring at Lin Fan out of the corner of the eye. After all, she was also curious, and it was the first time she had seen such a treatment. And it's really innovative. Barney Heyer even thought, if Lin Fan's method of handling ingredients is used together with her tyrannical ingredients, I am afraid that it will collide with an unprecedented novel taste. It seems that 147 gave Barney Hale a good idea. Let her not want to delay for a minute. Just follow Lin Fan's idea. However, instead of suckling pig, she used fish and beef. Mixed the freshly minced beef mash with eggs and other seasonings, and then slightly modulated. I brought a few live fish, processed them, and stuffed the beef mash into the fish belly. However, this process of dealing with fish, I am afraid that no one can accept except Barney Heyer. The scene was really appalling. The ingredients can bring people infinitely beautiful fantasy, but these ingredients are like a disaster in the hands of Barney Heyer. There are several kinds of kitchen utensils similar to the guillotine. Bow left and right at the same time. Lin Fan subconsciously turned his head to one side. It's not because of the scene, it's because I think this guy is wasting the ingredients. Moreover, looking at her operation method, she is only half understood. The food she made was probably not what she thought. Here, Lin Fan said casually, "Are you sure you want to do this?" 5. You know, if you do this, you might as well follow the recipe just now. 5. Because doing this can be counterproductive. Barney Heyer ignored it after hearing it. Lin Fan shrugged. Just seeing that she is a girl reminded her, but the other party can't help it if she doesn't appreciate it. Lin Fan's actions made Shaki see it. I thought she would silently stand aside to watch. Never thought about it. Shaki held her hands and said indifferently, You kindly remind, who knows that the other party doesn't appreciate it, but it's unnecessary. 35. On the contrary, people thought you deliberately set her a smoke bomb to win this halberd. After all, the opponent is also very confident in her cooking. Barney Hale looked unhappy after hearing this. What is it that I am afraid that he will set off smoke bombs and deliberately confuse my cooking? Lin Fan, from the beginning of the halberd competition to the present, I have some understanding. 39 with his strength. How could he possibly use such a foolish means, unless I'm really a big threat to him? Barney Heyer's words seemed to be a little naive. Shaki rushed to the front and said, Don't worry, you're a threat to Lin Fan? I'll just take it as a joke. Lin Fan pouted and looked at Shaki. Then, after looking at the time again, he sent the wrapped suckling pig directly into the oven. Set a good time. The next is the endless wait. On Barney Heyer's side, Lin Fan's words were useless. Process the ingredients silently and stuff the tyrannical ingredients into the fish's stomach little by little. Very own ideas and with seasonings. Finally, like Lin Fan, it was put into the oven. Only then was I satisfied. Looked at Lin Fan and smiled. Thank you very much, because your idea has inspired me. Let's just wait and see. 99 after speaking, Barney Heyer stood by and waited silently. As time passed, the aroma of the meat slowly drifted out from the ovens on both sides. On Lin Fan's side, the aroma of beef and pork, combined with the rich seasoning ingredients, formed a very distinct smell. On Barney Heyer's side, because it was sent directly into the oven when the barbecue sauce was not added, the fishy smell and the beef smell overflowed. At first, it didn't smell good. Then, after preheating, she brushed the fish with a layer of prepared barbecue sauce. The scent is slowly released. The scent is getting stronger. At this time, everyone thought that the dishes on both sides were here, and it would be good to wait until the end of the time. Lin Fan was ready. Seeing him looking at the boss, he smiled and said, Boss, I want to get you vaccinated in advance. 99. The next scene is the most critical and core scene of this dish. The boss asked, Then, Lin Fan rolled up his sleeves. Haven't waited for everyone to react. Bang, bang, bang. Suddenly, there was a loud bang in the kitchen. To be precise, there should be a loud noise where the oven should be. What followed was billowing smoke. Inside the oven, thick smoke poured out instantly. However, the smoke also had an unusual aroma. It's the aroma of barbecue, beef, pork. The boss was surprised. The oven exploded. Shaki held her hands and said calmly, Normal. As you can guess, Lin Fan is going to use explosive cooking. 35 blasting cuisine is no stranger to Shaki. However, Barney Hale on the side was stunned. She thought that Lin Fan just put the suckling pig into the oven, and over time, 0.0 would be good to master the heat. Unexpectedly, Lin Fan did use explosions, and this explosion will rapidly increase the temperature. Also, I heard that Lin Fan is very good at controlling this kind of temperature. Even people can't explain why. Just look at Shaki next to him. That's an expert in explosive cooking. However, she was conquered by Lin Fan's cooking skills. It can be seen from this that if the power of blasting is added, the suckling pig in the oven. Also, this is a way of tyrannizing the ingredients. Barney Hale was shocked. Surprisingly, she couldn't do it at all. Lin Fan calmly stepped forward and walked to the oven. Chapter 2:18 A glowing roast suckling pig. Subscribe. Lin Fan walked to the oven, reached out, and opened the door. Wow, the moment the oven door was pulled open, a golden light burst out. It's so dazzling that you can't even open your eyes. The boss was shocked. Golden light, it's golden light. Lin Fan's specialty is shining cooking. Oh my God, what I didn't expect was that in my lifetime, I would be able to witness luminous cooking with my own eyes. How charming and perfect it is. It's a miracle in the world of chefs. The food that comes out of it actually shines. Oh my God, it's so fragrant. Not only is it glowing, I can't open my eyes now, but it's so fragrant. The taste of this roast suckling pig is really fragrant. The restaurant owner said with a look of intoxication. The aroma slowly drifted out from the kitchen. It even caught the attention of those around you. People passing by outside, as long as 08 smells this fragrance, if they're a little bit of a foodie, they are immediately shocked. Excuse me, is anyone there? Hey, is no one here? Is this restaurant not open yet? Is the smell coming from here? Looking at the temporary rest sign outside, is this restaurant researching recipes? It smells so good, it smells like barbecue, and it's based on beef. Not only roast beef, but also roast other things. I know, this restaurant's original barbecue is very delicious. It is famous in this area. Did the owner really develop a new recipe? Boss, are you there? Several passers-by smelled the smell and entered the restaurant. Then he looked around in the restaurant, trying to find the boss and to know if he was trying dishes. If you were lucky, you could be a chef and taste this delicious food. In other words, being the first to enjoy new dishes is a great pleasure. The boss in the kitchen, when he heard someone outside, came out immediately. A few were regular customers of the restaurant, and when they saw the boss, they hurriedly stepped forward. Boss, are you researching new dishes here? It's delicious. Is it barbecue? Is there a certain menu? Can you let me try it first? 35. Me too. The aroma is blowing. It's really different from the cooking style of the boss's shop in the past. Boss, have you hired a new chef? 35. Facing the questioning of enthusiastic guests. The boss smiled awkwardly. Unexpectedly, Lin Fan's cooking has such great power. Instead, he wanted Lin Fan to be the new chef in his shop, which would be one of the biggest hits in the food world. And think about it. How could someone like Lin Fan stay in a small shop like him? A scale like Nakiri's international home is Lin Fan's final choice. So the boss smiled and said, there are indeed two very powerful new cooks in the store. But it's not the chefs I invited, I think, but their strength is too strong. 99, just borrowing my venue. The two are having a halberd battle. The diners were shocked when they heard it. One of the diners said in surprise, Shurji, you mean, in that famous food school Tsuki, the most distinctive way to learn the elimination mechanism to eat halberd. All conflicts and problems can be solved by eating halberds. And Shurji is two chefs, and both sides put forward the corresponding price as a bet. 35. If the losing side, no matter what, must abide by it. Is it this halberd? The boss nodded. For a moment, the guests were in an uproar. Someone was eating halberd in the restaurant, and the boss agreed. You know, although this restaurant is not the top one, it has a very good reputation in the industry. It was even endorsed by the WGO. Such a restaurant could acquiesce in a halberd eating showdown in his restaurant. It is conceivable that the identity and strength of the other party are not ordinary people. So, a customer asked, ask a little bit, who can fight halberds in the boss's shop? Both sides should have a good position in the food industry, right? It's convenient to tell who it is. I'm quite curious. After listening to the boss, he calmly said, these two cooks, you may not know all of them, but one of them, if you're usually a food lover, you must have heard of his deeds more or less. It's Lin Fan, a teenage genius. As soon as the words fell, the diners reacted exaggeratedly. Lin Fan? Lin Fan. It's Lin Fan, my God. Do you know Lin Fan? How can you not know? To be able to stand here with you, you must have a certain understanding of food, no matter how bad it is. You are a lover, of course you know Lin Fan. Oh my God, Lin Fan is eating halberds in the boss's shop. Who is the opponent? Can I go in and take a look? Just for a moment. 147. Please, boss, I want to see it too, even if it's just standing by the door, even if it's just a glance. It's Lin Fan. These days, it is said that foreign cooks have invaded the food industry. Lin Fan seems to have come out for this matter. The other party will not be that. Late night cook, 35, fighting against the late night cook? Oh my God, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Boss, please, I really want to go in and have a look. No wonder, I said, the cooking is very tempting. If it is said that Lin Fan did it, then my doubts will be lifted. The diners looked forward and begged the boss. The boss could only take a deep breath, not knowing whether to be surprised or uncomfortable. After all, Lin Fan brought popularity to the restaurant. But on the other hand, It is really enviable that this teenage boy has such superb cooking skills. The boss thought for a while and replied, "Yes, yes, but everyone should be careful and don't disturb them." Everyone was surprised and hit it off. He tiptoed to the kitchen door. Wow, there was an uproar. Everyone was amazed. Chapter 219 Cooking Skills Are Too Powerful. Subscription. Everyone was surprised when they saw it. In the kitchen at this time, the golden light has not completely dissipated, but I can already see clearly that the lump of roasted meat in the oven is exuding a faint light. A halo formed on the edges. The scene is very spectacular. In addition to the unusually attractive aroma, it once again triggered the exclamation of the crowd. Is this the kind of dish that smells wafting outside? 35. What is this? This big piece of roast meat put such a huge piece of beef directly into the oven. Yes, I'm sure this roast must be beef. The unique aroma of beef after roasting, it must be. It's very strange that this big piece of beef doesn't seem to be a complete piece of beef. It's more like something wrapped in it because of its shape. In doubt, Lin Fan also didn't delve into the group of people who came in. Without further explanation, you should know that this is a curious passerby. Afterwards, Lin Fan took the roasted suckling pig wrapped in beef out of the oven with heat-insulating gloves. The aroma is more attractive the moment it comes out of the oven. The roasted crispy appearance did not cause the outer layer of the beef to burn due to the explosion. It is also because of the power after the explosion that the aroma of the beef is further strengthened. On the tray, all the fat from the melted fat. Butter is mixed with lard to form another special aroma at this time. Lin Fan put the tray on the cooking table. With a kitchen knife in hand, start in the middle of the meat. The moment the blade pierced into the meat, kakaka crisp sound. This sound let everyone know how crispy and delicious the beef on the surface is. It made everyone drool. Poof! This suckling pig, wrapped in beef, is full of gas. At the moment of puncturing, the beef outside was more like a deflated ball. The aroma keeps pouring out. Everyone, at this moment, is already drooling. The knife in Lin Fan's hand was slightly harder. The crisp sound is more pronounced. Suddenly, the meat on the outside is more like a shell. Start in the middle and extend to both sides. Kakaka, all at once, the beef broke from both sides. Everyone thought it was a piece of roast beef. But I never thought that after the meat wrapped on the outside was cut, there was actually a roasted and brown suckling pig inside. Wow, this time it boils again. Oh my God, it turns out that there is a universe inside. I was still wondering just now which part of the beef is on. It looks so strange, but I never thought that it was just a shocking. And such cooking techniques. 35. Furthermore, it seems that if you want to roast the suckling pig on the inside of such a two-layer barbecue, it must be high temperature. This will inevitably cause the beef on the outside to scorch. But in fact, it doesn't. To be able to keep the heat from burning inside and outside, you must control the warm clothes and bake at low and medium temperatures, which will take a long time. 39, but I just came here for dinner. According to this recipe by Lin Fan, as long as it is heated in the oven, it will definitely smell the aroma. I couldn't smell it at the time. It's only 2 or 3 hours from the morning until now. For such a big barbecue project, let alone 3 hours, it should be at least 6 hours, but according to what you just said, it's impossible to do it all. 9, so didn't Lin Fan do this? How'd he do it? At this time, everyone looked at the oven again. That oven should be described as appalling. After Lin Fan brought out the roast suckling pig, the golden light gradually weakened and his vision returned. The crowd could see clearly, whereas the oven, or rather, because of some external force, the inside of the oven exploded. A char black. However, looking at the roast suckling pig, this creates a strong sense of contrast. In the end, how Lin Fan did it, everyone is puzzled. At this time, Bonnie Heyer, who was beside him, was dumbfounded. In her impression, Lin Fan is very powerful, but she has always used the most conventional cooking methods. Even those kitchen skills that look very exaggerated and cool, if you have to summarize them. Lin Fan's cooking skills should be relatively decent. Cooking people late at night, often through some extraordinary means. For example, it is like blasting, and there is tyranny, such as huang wang and poisonous meals. It's all rather witty cooking. However, What Barney Heyer did not expect was that Lin Fan could use such cooking skills. And the strength is not to be underestimated. At this time, Barney Heyer finally clearly understood why Lin Fan would win all the way. It's not luck, it's the real strength that is there. Barney Heyer also understood why Sha Qi would follow Lin Fan without hesitation. Even if Huang Guang risked his death, he would swear to follow him. More Claudeville also lost a mess. The Lin Fan in front of him, rather than saying that he is very suitable as a late-night cook, might as well say that he is a monster. Barney Heyer has never seen such a terrible chef as Lin Fan. The roast suckling pig in front of her had completely exceeded her expectations. Barney Heyer never dreamed that Lin Fan would actually combine the skills of explosive cooking, and it can control the temperature so cleverly. The crispy roasted milk, Dima Zhao. Pig is bright in color and fragrant in taste. It can be imagined before eating. This roast suckling pig is tender on the outside and tender on the inside, and the skin is caramel-colored and crispy. Thinking of this, Barney Heyer couldn't help but swallow her saliva. Then, in the eyes of everyone looking forward, I saw Lin Fan pick up the knife again, ready to start cutting the roast suckling pig. The moment when the blade hits the skin of the suckling pig. Another crisp. It's a crispier sound than beef crust, because the fat of the suckling pig has not yet grown thick. After it is properly roasted, the thin surface is like a layer of paper, and it will shatter when touched. It's like eating a crispy texture. Whoosh whoosh, Lin Fan divided the suckling pig into pieces by 3 and 5, then began to plate and looking to have a share. Uniform Chapter 220, Roasted Fish and Beef Overturned. Subscribe. Everyone has a share. Lin Fan said calmly. As soon as these words came out, everyone was stunned. Shouldn't say surprise, but surprise. Really? Can we really taste it? If such amazing dishes are put on the market, depending on your cooking skills, Lin Fan, they are all unique. A passerby said excitedly. After Lin Fan heard this, he smiled and said, "Yes, it's fate. If everyone doesn't taste it, won't this dish be wasted if you can't finish it? Everyone loves it, and the fate of this dish as an ingredient is not in vain." With that said, Lin Fan put the roast suckling pig on the plate. The skin of this roast suckling pig is so crisp that even when the tableware touches it, it will make a crispy sound. Passers-by sighed one after another. It's really the smoke from the ancestral grave. That's why I have such luck. Not only can I see Lin Fan cooking with my own eyes, there is still a chance to taste. It is to taste and to give an evaluation after tasting it. A few passers-by who got the barbecue couldn't help but sigh while intoxicated, asking about the barbecue. Just smelling this scent makes me addicted to it. Yeah, I never dreamed that I would actually rate Lin Fan's cooking. What is this concept? Just like we're also in the cooking competition, those experienced and high-ranking judges. Yeah, the chefs have the power to kill. It feels really good. There's no time to talk nonsense here. I have to try it now. It's a rare opportunity. Looking back, I'm going to tell my family about today's adventure. They must be envious and think I'm lying. One of the diners said to Lin Fan, "By the way, Chef Lin, I have an unkind request. Can I take a photo with you? My daughter is your big fan. Since watching you cook, you are now his only idol, 35, and she has already decided that she will be admitted to Totsuki Academy next year. Not only my daughter is your fan, me, my wife, and my family, if they knew I had a chance to take a photo with you, or even tasted your food and made a comment, oh my God, I can't even imagine that they must be envious." The more the man spoke, the more excited he became, with a pleading expression on his face. Seeing this, Lin Fan did not refuse and nodded silently. After all, taking a photo is just a little effort, but in their hearts, it has a pivotal position. So, Lin Fan took the initiative to walk over. The man hurriedly and politely took out his camera and then approached Lin Fan carefully. Took a photo that wasn't so natural. The man was so excited that he held his mobile phone and thanked him constantly while watching. Then, he also turned his attention back to himself. Next is tasting time. Everyone picked up their plates one after another. Although they were in a hurry, they still had to take their image into consideration. With a fork, Pick up a small piece with a pretense of grace and bite down lightly. The air is unusually quiet. Click. Only a crisp sound was heard. The crispy skin of the roast, suckling pig was instantly bitten. It's like eating crispy, thin layer. Even the fat under the skin was dried out, and it was crispy and delicious. Most importantly, on the skin, Lin Fan also sprinkled some white sesame seeds. Like eating crackers, on the skin of the suckling pig, the beef butter is completely absorbed. The rich, meaty aroma of beef has gradually penetrated into the roast, suckling pig, and even the skin is dry and fragrant. Crispy, dry and fragrant, and the mouth is full of fragrance after eating. With the taste of sesame seeds, the taste is simply incredible. With that said, the diner ate another piece of meat. In an instant, the diners were better, AAA, than eating some elixir. Instantly, his eyes lit up with excitement. Not only is the skin crispy and simple, but the texture of the meat inside is so tender and delicious. A kitchen man with an engine under his feet. With the flick of a switch, they can fly in an instant. One by one, clapping and applauding. Even if it is not enough, I want to taste it here. Seeing this, Bonnie Hire frowned, feeling a lot of unspeakable unease in her heart. He silently took out his food. Compared to Lin Fan's explosive roast suckling pig, her cooking is nothing short of pediatric. Beneath the strong smell of meat in a room, Bonnie Hire's cooking seemed so tasteless. No scent at all. Completely covered by Lin Fan's cooking, Barney Hire had an illusion. Is there something wrong with your recipe? With a pat on the forehead, Barney Hire felt a little ridiculous about what she had just thought. No matter how you say it, you are not a novice. Even if your cooking skills are inferior to others, it is impossible to question your own cooking. So, Bonnie Hire took a deep breath, took her cooking, and walked into the crowd. Put the dishes on the cooking table and said calmly, "This is my grilled fish and beef." Everyone was stunned. Then one person replied, "Grilled fish and beef? It sounds like Lin Fan's practice is a bit imitated. Shouldn't it be? It's also a fusion of beef and fish. But I didn't see the beef." Saying that, the man looked carefully and found clues. Then he exclaimed in surprise, "Sure enough, there is beef in the belly of the fish." But, speaking of this, the man questioned a little. The combination of fish and beef. Will it really taste good with this combination? The fishy and earthy smell of fish, if not handled properly, pairing with beef will be a disaster. But, since I could be Lin Fan's opponent, I must be very good at cooking. So, can I try it? The man said politely. Barney Hale cut the food and handed it to the man. After the man took it subconsciously, he sniffed it. There was no surprised expression, but a slight frown. After a while, the man replied, "This, excuse me, but the combination of these two ingredients doesn't seem to be very good." 55 Chapter 221, This is the Gap, the cook who conquered for subscription. Facing the reactions of the diners, Bonnie Hire collapsed a little and even didn't believe it. The next second, seeing her hurriedly took out a knife. Gently make a cut in the fish belly. Kakaka, the crust that was baked and crispy, was cut open. The beef broth that has been heated inside will slowly overflow in an instant. With aroma. Wrong. Strictly speaking, this is not a fragrance. Because this smell smells weird. An indescribable weirdness. Nothing delicious at all. Barney Hale's mentality began to collapse. How could it be like this? Based on her cooking experience, Lin Fan's recipes are very credible. Even if the ingredients used are different, in the same way, the fish should be more delicious and delicious. But completely the opposite. At this time, some diners cautiously try to bite. Just after entering, this tastes so weird. The diner quickly spit out all the fish that he had eaten. What's more exaggerated is seeing him hurriedly looking for someone to drink in the kitchen. Use this to rinse your mouth. Barney Hale was completely stunned. Even if it is a problem with the ingredients, it will not be so unpalatable. So he picked up his chopsticks and picked up a piece of beef from the belly of the fish. According to her expectations, the beef absorbed the fresh aroma of the fish, and the two types of meat absorbed the essence of each other. How could it be unpalatable? Barney Hale eats a small piece of beef. The moment of entrance. The earthy and fishy smell of the beef instantly occupied the entire mouth. How so? Barney Hale whispered this. If she didn't do the whole process by herself, I'm afraid that at this juncture, Lin Fan would have to rely on her. It was Lin Fan who deliberately made such a recipe, which caused her cooking to go wrong. But the fact is, from selecting ingredients to processing and finally sending them to the oven, this step-by-step is all made by herself. And no one was near her cooking area. So, thinking of this, Barney Hire suddenly said, "Is it because of the explosion?" Lin Fan on the side laughed and said, "You finally found it. I told you earlier that doing so would only be counterproductive, but you don't listen." Barney Hire asked, "But it's just a matter of temperature. It's impossible to have such a big difference." Lin Fan shook his head and said, "That's not the case because the temperature of the oven has not reached, so that the beef is inside the fish, and it is not well handled. It's just, you also have problems with the handling of the fish." 35. If you carefully remove the earthy smell of the fish, even if the heat is not in place, it will not have such an unpalatable taste. Barney Hale seems to have opened the door to a new world. He was awakened by Lin Fan's words. The focus is on the earthy taste of the fish. Afterwards, she was still puzzled and asked, "However, for the earthy smell of fish, I have used barbecue sauce with special seasonings. It can't be like this." After Lin Fan heard it, he still smiled and said, "I'm afraid you have a wrong understanding of deodorization. The combination of spices is not what you think. It is too complicated here, and I have no time to explain it to you." 35. Anyway, this dish of yours is a total failure. And in this halberd food competition with me, you lost. Pat, pat, pat. Suddenly, everyone unconsciously clapped and clapped. It's really because Lin Fan's cooking skills made them astonished. It is this young teenager who has broken the tradition of the food industry again and again, even infused with fresh blood, so that more unknown delicacies can be revealed. Once again, Lin Fan has a higher status in the hearts of these people. Then, after the results were announced, Barney Hale also lost. She lowered her head and thought for a moment. "I finally know now why Shaki follows you without hesitation. Your cooking is already different from ordinary people, and even in the world, you have a strength that should not be underestimated. The blue contest, you will definitely stand out there and get the attention of people all over the world." 99-0. Ask for flour 00. I've been a chef for so long, and this is the first time I've been so convinced by a person. It's really admirable. It has nothing to do with your age. It's really amazing. I lost, and I admitted it. Next, as for the price, if it is possible, it doesn't matter. I will give you this life willingly. You can do whatever you want with me." Barney Hire said decisively. The attitude is completely different from before. Everyone has to admire Lin Fan. This is the magic brought by food. It can make a person so convinced, and it can also make a person become a belief. Lin Fan looked at Barney Hire and looked at himself sincerely. Lin Fan turned around and said with a smile, "We'll talk about this later, but be optimistic about the people around you. Don't let them mess around. This is the only request I have of you." Correct. It shouldn't be long before a restaurant comes out. If you want to come, you can contact me at that time. 5. The premise is, the matter of cooking people late at night will end from now on. When Barney Hire heard this, she nodded her head in surprise. Lin Fan turned around and walked out of the restaurant. Next, I took out my phone and looked at it. Nikiri Arena, they are very efficient. This matter has been dealt with almost. Then there is only one last stop left. Tun, this is the last cook. Being surrounded by people as mother. 9. Hey, this guy is funny. Lin Fan said jokingly. Shaki smiled and said, "This is the last person. You better not take it lightly. Also, Tun, is very powerful." 99. Lin Fan smiled and said, "Oh, yes, then I want to see and see." 35. Chapter 222. Tun, leading tens of thousands of sissies for subscription. After listening to Lin Fan's words, Shaki said calmly, "He may not be what you think he is. Anyway, you'll find out later." Lin Fan nodded. "I haven't seen anything weird. It doesn't matter at all." When preparing to locate, Lin Fan's cell phone rang. It's an unfamiliar phone call. It is rare to get calls from unknown numbers. Lin Fan answered the phone. Hello. The other party. You are Lin Fan? Lin Fan felt that things were not good, because listening to the other party's tone, some people were not good. But thinking about it, I don't think so. After all, he has offended the cook all night. At this time, the other party smiled and said, I know you are very special, so in order to express your specialness, I also prepared a gift 147 for you. The voice of the other party's voice, some mothers, even there's a strange yin and yang. Lin Fan was immediately upset when he heard this and replied, If you want to speak, just say it. 9, don't waste my time here. If it's nothing special, just hang up. The other party immediately replied, Wait, I think you should be interested in this. Saying that, it seems that the other side is getting up and doing something. Kakaka. Then the sound of moving the phone was heard. You let me go. Do you know who I am? Yet dare to show my face, damn it. The scolding from the other end of the phone immediately startled Lin Fan, because the voice he was familiar with was Nakiri Irina. At this time, the other party seemed to use some method to prevent Nakiri Irina from speaking. Afterwards, he picked up the phone and said with a sinister smile, How about it? Should I know what I'm looking for you for this time? Lin Fan understood instantly. This is without a doubt the late-night cook. Thinking over and over in my head, Nakiri Irina is also the executor of this matter. But why did Lin Fan think of connecting with himself? Obviously, the other party is coming for him. Using Nakiri Irina as a bargaining chip, fundamentally, the opponent has exposed the problem. I was afraid to come to the door myself. In other words, it was extremely unconfident, which led to the tying of Nakiri Irina. So, no matter what, Lin Fan shouldn't panic. Otherwise, it is in the hands of others. Then, Lin Fan calmly smiled and said, Since you've already made your intentions clear, then report to your family. 99, and also, what are the conditions? Let's just say it in one breath. And I also feel troublesome, the other party said with a smile. Sure enough, you are quite simple. It's very simple. I heard that you're interested in this little girl, right? Or, it is rumored in the industry that you are the prospective son-in-law of the Nakiri family. As soon as you graduate, you will get married, am I right? Poof, Lin Fan couldn't help laughing. Who said that? A thing that doesn't exist. 35, so that's why you tied her up and then used her to blackmail me? 35, the other party replied calmly. It's not a threat. It's making a deal, or in other words, making a bet. Gamble your life with Nakiri Irina. I need to fight a halberd with you. If you win, Nakiri Irina will take you away. If you lose, her life will be. Or in other words, you can also trade your life with her. Lin Fan inevitably showed a smile after hearing this. Shaki stopped the words in her ears and said inexplicably, What time is it? You still have the heart to laugh. 35. If Nakiri Irina is not your fiancé, you should have a good relationship, right? What are you going to do about this? Do you want someone from the Nakiri family to come? Facing Shaki's question, Lin Fan didn't have time to answer her. Holding the phone, he smiled and said, That's it? Are you sure? The other party was stunned and did not speak. I thought Lin Fan would be in a hurry, but I didn't expect to pass on the information from the past. Lin Fan didn't even care. Doesn't he care about Nakiri Irina's life or death? Or, the other party was still thinking. Lin Fan interrupted. I thought it was a great bet, Zero. Isn't it just Shurji? Let's try cooking with you, right? Okay, time and place where? But I'll make it clear in advance that when the time is tight, you should hurry up and confirm it, and I'll go over now. After it's over, I'm going to find that guy named Tun Kama to settle accounts. Hearing this, the other party suddenly laughed. Huh? Did you say you were going to find Tun Maka? It's really a coincidence. It seems that you don't have to look for it anymore. It's far away in the sky, and right in front of you. I didn't expect that. I actually thought of going together. If I knew it was so simple, why would I have to tie her up? But then again, this lady is not useless. 35. At least using her as a coercion will disrupt your mind and make you lose focus when cooking. 5. How? Under such circumstances, do you still dare to come to the appointment? Or will it be handled directly by the Nakiri family? Tun Maka's words were obviously provocative and sarcastic. Lin Fan took a deep breath and smiled calmly. I think you think too much. I dare not. Or will it disturb my mind? 35. It's useless to talk too much. Now that I know who you are, I don't need you to give me your address. I know where you are. 5. Only half an hour. Your 0.0 bet may sound a little outrageous, but I gladly accept it because my dictionary has never lost this word. After speaking, Lin Fan hung up the phone and stopped a taxi. Tun Maka's house, it is a luxury villa. When Lin Fan walked to the door opened automatically. However, the scene inside made Lin Fan instantly stunned. Many people gather in the house, and these people seem to be different from normal people. After seeing Lin Fan, the men with heavy makeup shouted softly, "Mom, he's here." Chapter 223. The theme is crab meat. Subscription. Mom, he's here. A man with heavy makeup, seeing Lin Fan, shouted in surprise. Afterwards, a room of men dressed in coquettish manners instantly fell on Lin Fan. The man who spoke first said in a bewitching manner, "Yo, this is Lin Fan, right? 5. I heard about it just now, and the tone is not small. But I can understand, after all, I can conquer most of the food circles in a short period of time. 35. And a beautiful fiancé, he. 35, the man said while covering his mouth and smiling. Then he continued, "This smiling face bag looks so handsome. If you join us, it must be brilliance, but unfortunately, it's a pity that the chef has been dismissed. It's really a pity," the man said with a disappointed expression. At this time, a man came down from the upstairs. In a suit and leather shoes, he looks like he is in his 40s. Holding a bottle of foreign wine in his hand, with glasses, he can't see his eyes. But from the action on the corner of his mouth, he knew that he despised Lin Fan in 08. The man is still yin and yang, and said, "You really came, and you're quite fast." 39. I was just wondering if you would notify the Nakiri family. In that case, it might be a little troublesome. At that time, we will have to draw up another plan. But you are sincere, and you came alone, Lin Fan replied. Stop talking nonsense. Where do you eat halberds? I've said it all. I'm short on time, and I don't want to waste time on you guys. Tun Kama smiled and said, It seems that you're still very anxious about that little girl. Can't you wait so much? If you call someone, I'm afraid she still has a chance this time. Tun Kama smiled. Then he turned his head to the side, and his eyes fell to the side. Signs that the kitchen is over there. Lin Fan didn't answer and went directly to the kitchen. After all, I'm really busy and don't want to waste time on these fearless things. When entering the kitchen, Lin Fan suddenly remembered something. So he asked, By the way, where is Nakiri Arena? The premise of eating halberd with you is that I must see her in person and make sure she is safe and sound. Tun Kama smiled and said, The boy is quite attentive. But I'll ask you at the end, have you figured it out? This halberd, with Nakiri Arena as a bet. If you win, you take it away. If you lose, then life is ours. Lin Fan laughed. Yes, no problem. No need to repeat it. 35 Shaki, who was on the side, seemed a little worried. You really agree like this? I always feel that something is wrong. You still have to be more careful. Lin Fan laughed. It's okay, no matter what he does, as long as he eats the halberd with me, he won't win. 35. Not even the slightest chance. Shaki was surprised. These words came out of Lin Fan's mouth, and it was an understatement, as if it was inevitable. When everything is unknown, how can Lin Fan be so sure? Unless this guy really has a plan, it's already confirmed. Since Lin Fan has said this for the sake of it, Shaki has nothing to worry about. Silently followed in the kitchen. At this time, two sissy men standing beside Nakiri Arena followed into the kitchen. When Nakiri Arena saw Lin Fan, there was a hint of surprise in her panicked expression. Soon, Nakiri Arena noticed that there was another Shaki beside Lin Fan. Except for the two of them, there was no one else. Nakiri Arena said, You came alone, with only her? The words were a little sour and a little unhurried. Unlike Lin Fan's previous halberds, the stake this time was to take her life. Lin Fan actually came alone. Nakiri Arena can understand if it is not to scare the snakes. But what's the matter with Shaki? Thinking of this, Nakiri Arena was a little unhappy. Seeing this, Tun Kama said, "Okay, people have seen it. Then let's get to the point. Young man, I will let you know that your arrogance will not only harm you, but also affect the people closest to you." Lin Fan replied impatiently. "After talking so much, when can we start? It's really annoying. Do you all like to talk about your late-night cooks? You can't have fun when you talk." Lin Fan muttered, walked to the cooking table, and grabbed the waistband. I went to the food area again and took a look. In my mind, I went through the slides quickly, thinking about what I wanted to use. 8 demons. After using it so many times, Lin Fan got tired of it. T. Breaking the military. Thinking of this, a thought flashed in Lin Fan's mind. What will be the effect of the 8 magic array plus 7 stars breaking the army? 147 himself has never combined these 2 cooking skills into one, but he can give it a try today. I don't usually have the opportunity to experiment, but this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Then, Lin Fan looked at Tun Kama with a half smile. This smile made the other party feel a chill. A few sissy people are pointing fingers at the side. How can this guy speak so fluently? Not only that, but it seems that he is bound to win. 35. I hate the way this guy talks. I really hate it. How does he know that he will definitely win? That's right. Obviously, he is here to save people. And he speaks as if we are the guest, and he is the master. And my mother should teach him a lesson. Mom, come on, I'm going to give this kid a hard blow and cast a dark fog on his future cooking career. No, there is no future. The group of people spoke impassively. Nakiri Arena stood between them, visibly uncomfortable and disgusted. Looking at Lin Fan, he said, "My life is in your hands this time." Lin Fan nodded. Continue to look at the ingredients section. Very open, his eyes fell on the hairy crabs. Chapter 224 Crab Meat, Egg Cave, Meat, Egg / Hibiscus Egg. Subscribe. This season, the freshest hairy crab season. Crab paste crab oil meat is very plump. Lin Fan didn't think much and quickly caught countless hairy crabs. Hairy crabs are the core of today's cooking. And when the sissies saw this, they started to talk again. Hairy crabs? It's not hard to see that Lin Fan is good at Chinese cuisine, so he even used hairy crabs. Yes, hairy crabs have a very high status in Chinese food, but in our case, most of them only appear in Chinese food streets. 5, after all, there's less meat, so it is so hard to eat. Even if it is the season of fat crabs, can it be compared with other crab meat? Sea crabs, hairy crabs, matsuba crabs, flower crabs, king crabs. Which kind of meat is not stronger than cream crabs? I don't understand it at all. I want to see how Lin Fan wins this game. After all, this is not in China. The taste is different. Isn't it self-defeating to choose such unpleasant ingredients from the beginning? I was even thinking, did Lin Fan do it on purpose to make that little girl Nakiri Arena die? Let's see what he's going to do next. All in all, we are all locals in the room. This hairy crab, just hearing this ingredient, I will refuse it, let alone conquer the taste buds. It's a bit over the top, so let's see. A room full of mothers and daughters said madly. This made Tun Kama, who was on the side, even more proud after hearing it. He looked at Nakiri Arena with a look of disdain and smiled. Little girl, I'm afraid you are going to explain it here today. After speaking, he turned his head to look at Lin Fan. He walked silently to the ingredients area and placed the wine in his hand on the cooking table along the way. This means that he wants to use this bottle of wine. Lin Fan looked at the hairy crabs he caught. The only pity is that out of season, there is no butter crab. Otherwise, it's really delicious. During the spawning season of crabs, because of the rising temperature, the crab oil on the body will swim all over the body. The most obvious is the limbs, which appear to be transparent yellow. After cooking, take a bite. The delicious taste is unmatched by other crabs. Then, Lin Fan separates male and female crabs. His hand gently squeezed the crab legs. It's really in season, and the crab meat is extremely plump. Next, Lin Fan has to deal with the crab meat. Using special tools, the crab meat can be disassembled very skillfully. The crab shells left behind were thought to be useless garbage. Unexpectedly, Lin Fan handled the crab shell carefully and put it into the pot. Wow, this time, Another uproar. What? Crab shells are still being made into food? How do you eat this? He added water in it, and it looks like he's going to make soup from crab shells. Is this edible? Is it delicious? I thought it was made of crab meat. Even if I put some crab meat in it, what flavor can I make with just the shells that have been demolished? I can't understand. This makes me incomprehensible. There's so many kinds of crabs, all kinds of exquisite and expensive ones. But Lin Fan has to use hairy crabs. Could this be intentional? Deliberately? Because you're Chinese, right? So you have to make special Chinese cuisine. Even if it doesn't suit everyone's taste, it doesn't matter. Then this is a bit too selfish, isn't it? It's true that you want to emphasize Chinese cuisine, but this method is still on this important food. Or that sentence, this guy is a little too arrogant. The group of sissies were pulling their throats, which made their voices a little thinner. It is precisely because of this that the people listening on the side feel very uncomfortable. Come here while talking and pointing to the orchid. Tunkama has long been accustomed to it. While processing the dishes in hand, he looked at Nakiri Arena with contempt from time to time. This eldest lady, in the mouths of others, has more or less heard of it. A legend in the food world. I have had the taste of the tongue of God since I was a child, in the hearts of restaurant owners and even countless bigwigs in the food industry. They have an indelible, lofty position. They believe in the tongue of the god Nakiri Irina. He did not hesitate to hire her to try dishes at a high price. As long as she approves the dishes in restaurants, she can enjoy a lifetime of star halo. Even his family's Totsuki Academy, once graduated, has its own advantages. Such a model, Tunkama thought it was outrageous. Even let a yellow-haired girl decide the definition of food. The most ironic thing is that this girl who exists like a god in the food world is now in his hands, and her life and death are uncertain. Before Lin Fan came, Tunkama thought that it was necessary to prepare for this halberd. However, after seeing Lin Fan pick the ingredients, Tunkama even suspected that Lin Fan's achievements and titles were probably just hype. As for why other cooks lost like this, 80% is also because they underestimate the enemy. Otherwise, how could this be possible? The more Tunkama thought about it, the more confident he grew. When I look at Lin Fan, he is still a young man, not deep in the world, and doesn't know the dangers of the world. But this is the charm of Shiji, and since he has agreed, there is no turning back. Even if Lin Fan regretted the loss, there was nothing he could do. In the end, Tunkama will be able to get these Lin Fan honors. He was the man who successfully defeated Lin Fan. Thinking of this, Tunkama couldn't help laughing proudly. Then, going to the topic, he picked up the kitchen utensils that looked like wine bottles. Looking at his beloved kitchen utensils, I have to say that when I am in a good mood, everything is so beautiful. Tunkama feels that the dishes he cooks today may be the peak of his cooking career. This kid Lin Fan really earned it. Saying that, he began to process the ingredients, cut them, and match the seasonings. Then, I only heard the group of sissies on the side, with a surprised look on their faces, covering their mouths, and shouting in surprise. That expression, fascinated, regarded Tunkama as an idol. Uniform. Here is the lovely dividing line. Chapter 225, Colorful Bubble Cuisine. Subscribe. A room full of sluts are clapping their hands and shouting. Because at this moment, Tunkama is using his unique skills, shaking the wine bottle vigorously. Therefore, colorful bubbles are also produced. These bubbles float in the air and look very dreamy. The dishes made in Tunkama are completely different from his image. This way of cooking dishes is more like the way of other sissies. Kakaka, another round of shaking, more and more colorful bubbles around Tunkama. This made everyone in the room couldn't help screaming. Aye, girlish heart, really overflowing with girlish hearts. This is too beautiful. As expected of Tunkama, as expected of a rocky dish. How is this done? No, it should be said, what is the purpose of this? I remember hearing Tunkama say that the purpose of this shaking is to turn all the ingredients into a sauce. Is this still possible? It's amazing. It seems that the fragrance has already come out. It's a fragrance. It feels like the fragrance of a girl's heart every day. This bout of emotion. The air was filled with a sweet and greasy smell. 147. A man who is almost middle-aged can easily grasp the theme of a girl's heart. Seeing this makes Lin Fan think of Zhijin and Totsuki taking a Akakubo peach who likes to cook cute dishes. For comparison, Tunkama seems to be slightly better at cooking. At this time, the speed of the shaker in Tunkama's hand slowly slowed down. Everyone waited with expectant eyes. Tunkama took it easy and opened the lid of the shaker, while from inside, colorful bubbles flew out again. At this time, the whole room was full of bubbles. In the shaker, the bubbles continued to overflow and flew to the sky. Some people were starting to get emotional. Oh my God, I seem to have come to a candy kingdom filled with sweets that are so sweet to my heart. Not only that, but I seem to have seen an angel. The little angel took candy, took my hand, and led me slowly into the air. 35. A piece of soft cloud, colorful cloud like cotton candy. I seen a lie on the cloud and take a light AAA bite. This taste is so beautiful. Also, I seem to have entered these colorful bubbles and slowly followed these bubbles to the sky. It's so beautiful. It's all really like it's real. It's so tempting. I just want to stay like this forever and never wake up again. Only a mother can cook such an amazing dish. No, it's not a dish yet. It's just a sauce. It's amazing. Our mother is really amazing. What the hell did this kid Lin Fan do to win? In the end, it's still too selfish. This time, my mother is definitely going to win a big victory and perfectly reap the title of Lin Fan. This group of sissies praised recklessly. Tunkama is everything to them. Shaki looked at all this and couldn't help but make a look of contempt. Even she couldn't stand the way this group of people spoke. At this time, Tunkama slowly poured the prepared sauce into the utensils. There are also slight bubbles in this sauce. It looks very colorful under the light. After this one, Tunkama seems to be declaring war on Lin Fan. It's even more of an overwhelming sense of sight. He seriously thought that Lin Fan couldn't have one. Lin Fan also sees all this. Pat, pat, pat. Subconsciously, Lin Fan applauded. Seeing this, Shaki was immediately shocked, and Ben couldn't understand it. But when you think about it, it makes sense. Watching Lin Fan eat halberds all the way, no matter the competition, he has come this way, and he has never taken the initiative to praise his opponent like this. And still have this attitude in normal times. It would be fine if he didn't mock hard, but it couldn't be like this at all. Seeing this, those sissies became even more proud. Look, Lin Fan has lost. He admitted his mother's cooking skills. 39. Yeah. Have you already admitted defeat before you start the competition? I already said that it's not good to choose a crab. So I have to choose a hairy crab? Isn't this just asking for a dead end? It's a pity. In fact, this guy's cooking skills are good, but he is too arrogant. If we can join the late-night cook, then our team will definitely conquer the world. It's still my mother who is amazing. She scared this stinky boy directly. Come on, Mom. There's no way to admit defeat now. If you want to admit defeat, that lovely lady over there, Tsk, Tsk. It's a pity. A group of people said yin and yang strangely. Nakiri Irina, who was standing on the side, wanted to step forward, but two bodyguards stopped him. She looked at Lin Fan. This guy is really messed up. It's not the first day Nakiri Irina met Lin Fan. Lin Fan never does anything unsure. Everything happens for a reason. If he was not sure, he would definitely not be able to come alone. So, thinking of this, Nakiri Irina wanted to understand again. Maybe it's some scheming of Lin Fan. There must be a reason for doing so. Regardless, Nakiri Irina felt that he should trust Lin Fan. Then, Nakiri Irina showed her Tsundere princess attitude. It didn't look like he was being tied up and was taking the other party hostage. Even with a tone of disdain and ridicule, he said, "You idiots are also worthy of being cooks. Don't be too complacent. You won't even be able to cry in an hour." Tunkama smiled and said, "It seems that you really believe in Lin Fan. 55 in normal times it might be like this, but today this guy met me. Really unlucky. Years, looks like you're thinking too much today, Lin Fan. I'm afraid I won't lose you." After Tunkama finished speaking, a group of people followed and laughed. At this time, Lin Fan calmly smiled and said, Who said that? Chapter 226. The highlight is the crab shell soup of the Breaking Army. For subscription, who said it? Lin Fan said calmly. Everyone in the room turned their eyes to Lin Fan. Then, I saw Lin Fan inside his coat and took out a 7-star knife. Yes, this is what he exchanged in the system just now. Wow, there was an uproar. See Lin Fan holding an exquisite knife. At first, the group of sissies were terrified. Lin Fan, what is this for? In a hurry? Dangerous. Get out of the way. Mom, get out of there. This guy Lin Fan seems to be coming for real. Oh my god, I can't compete with cooking skills. So I'm going to take that little girl Irina away with a murder weapon. It's so scary. Just at that moment, I feel like I've experienced life and death. It's so dangerous, but fortunately I took a life and came back, and I almost had an accident. Fortunately, everyone's response was fast enough. 35 These sissies don't care what Lin Fan is going to say and do next. Speaking to himself, Lin Fan couldn't help crying. Hey, did I say you were exaggerating too? To start with you? Isn't that a very simple thing? You won't use this. Don't worry, you are all right. Irina will be fine too. After listening to Nakiri, Irina, there was no expression. But he was secretly delighted. Lin Fan said he will definitely save her. With that said, Lin Fan turned the 7-star knife in his hand a few times gracefully. Then, start processing the rest of the ingredients. It used the power of the 7 stars to break the army. Kakaka, one by one, the ingredients flew into the air as if performing acrobatics. Lin Fan seems to be able to control these cut ingredients. A sissy exclaimed, "My mother, so the swordsmanship can still be like this?" Another sissy beside him responded, "It's too scary." This Lin Fan's previous swordsmanship turned out to be true. 9966 after hearing this, Shaki said with contempt, "No one will say the same thing after seeing Lin Fan's swordsmanship. It's really amazing." I began to suspect that special effects were added, but I was shocked by the 4, and Lin Fan has been using strength to prove it along the way. Shaki spoke calmly, with a sense of substitution, because, in the past, she also had such a naive idea. In the end, it was not conquered by Lin Fan's cooking skills. Then, in the shocked eyes of the crowd. Soon, Lin Fan finished preparing all the ingredients. At this time, the soup in the pot has begun to smell fragrance. It's the delicious smell of seafood. Afterwards, Lin Fan was very fast and quickly chopped the peeled crab meat into puree. Meat? Mashed meat? Chop the crab meat into mashed crab meat. So you want to make meatballs? Crab shell soup dumplings? I seem to understand a little bit now. Yes, that is to say, use crab shells as the base soup, boil the fresh aroma of seafood, and then put in crab meat and scald it gently. In this way, you can drink soup and eat crabs again. Meat. Wonderful. In this way, you don't have to worry about the taste of crab meat changing due to the long cooking time. And the soup will not become tasteless because it is only stewed for a short time. 35, huh? That being said, this recipe is pretty good, but well, this guy uses hairy crabs. 35. Yeah, hairy crabs don't have much meat on their own. I'm thinking if you use cream crabs or king crabs, oh my god, this tastes TSK. 5 Before seeing the finished product, a bunch of people began to comment and fantasize. Tunkama watched. He also felt that what his subordinates said was not wrong. Lin Fan's recipes are truly eye-catching. But unfortunately, this guy was too arrogant, and the problem of selecting materials caused the next cooking that Lin Fan was going to do to fail. Without caring so much, Tunkama went on to process the ingredients. The last step has been reached. Spread the prepared bubble sauce over the lightly grilled steak. Amazingly, the sauce poured over the steak and the bubbles didn't go away. As for flowers 00 around the plate, there are still colorful bubbles rising continuously. When flying to a certain height in the air, the bubbles burst and emit a wonderful fragrance. In addition to the rich aroma of grilled steak, it is the aroma of the bubble itself, with fruity aroma. Star anise, nutmeg, cinnamon, vanilla. The smell after the bubble burst is composed of these. Then, Tunkama laughs. My novelty French steak is ready, And the heart of it is this amazing sauce. It will definitely bring you an unexpected taste. 9 at this moment, a sissy stood out and said excitedly, "Mom, can I have a chance to be the one who tastes?" Tun Kama smiled and said, "Although my dish is perfect, but after all, you're on the cook side, so I'm afraid others will not be convinced by the evaluation you give," Tun Kama said with a half smile. Lin Fan hurriedly returned, "You think too much. A person who can achieve his goals through such despicable means of tying people up. What character can be said?" 95 the sissy's face changed greatly, and she pointed at Lin Fan and scolded, "You stinky boy, how can you speak so ugly?" Lin Fan laughed. "Isn't that what I said? So, what's the difference if your people taste it or not? In the end, aren't they all biased towards you? Actually, I don't care either. After all, no one can refuse my cooking," Lin Fan said confidently. At this time, Shaki stood up and said, "Since this is the case, then I will also be the person who evaluates. In this way, although it is illegal in theory, but for you, what are the rules? This is the rule. Vary and discipline." Lin Fan smiled and said, "You don't have to, but for the sake of it. That's it, right?" 5-ton Kama nodded. Then, he cut up the food and handed it to the two of them. The moment Shaki took the plate, a fragrant smell of beef came to his nostrils instantly. 0. Chapter 227, The Heartwarming Mulled Wine. Subscribe. When Shaki served the plate, a fragrant smell came to the face. "It's wine," Shaki said. Tun Kama nodded. Shaki continued, "French fried steak. You were talking about novelty. The core should be this red wine, right? But I don't see anything new, and it's normal to add red wine. Unless this red wine has the same magical effect as the bubbles just now," Shaki said, and hurriedly took a bite. One entrance. For a moment, what surprised Shaki was not the taste of the steak. The focus is on the sauce for the steak, the novelty red wine. Hot red wine has a warm feeling. Not only is it fruity, but it also has a very strong spice. Star anise, meat, 147 cinnamon, cloves, nutmeg. Just tasted the sauce alone, sweet and delicious, very mellow. Not only the spices, but also the combination of orange, lemon, and apple makes this sauce even more delicious. Pairing with fried steak, the taste is simply not so good. Really, the unique skill of Tun Kama is to shake all those spices and fruits together. This combination gives the fried steak a double-bodied taste. 5. And the aroma of this sauce can't be dissipated in the mouth for a long time. It's a very successful dish when paired with the same red wine with a similar sauce. A mouthful of steak, enjoying a mouthful of mellow red wine. This taste is simply amazing. Speaking of which, Tun Kama grinned. It seems to have been expected. Turning around on the stove, it was already warmed up early. At this time, the talents reacted, and it turned out that there was red wine on the stove. The smell has slowly drifted out, and the aroma is pleasant. Mom was still prepared. She even used warm red wine to match the fried steak. Yes, if the red wine is heated to 7 to 80 degrees and the appropriate spices are added, the taste will be more sweet and mellow. Just smelling it like this, I already felt a warm current, which warmed directly to my heart. I can't wait to take a sip. This must be the best gift after the upcoming winter. 39. A group of sissies sighed and touted again. Tun Kama strains the red wine to remove all the spices and fruit. Pour them into cups and hand them to Lin Fan and others. Shaki first tasted the red wine and smelled it. Surprise. The smell is like the sauce on a fried steak, but it's different on closer inspection. It seems to have a little more spice. More than sauce, lemons and cloves. Shaki was surprised. Tun Kama smiled and said, "It's your quick reaction. Put the cut fruit into the red wine and heat it slowly over a low heat. The most important thing is the cloves." Speaking of this, Tun Kama proudly said, "The addition of this clove must be at the end. And with oranges. And this orange, instead of putting it in directly, sticks the cloves into the orange peel. The orange peel interacts with the cloves as the temperature slowly rises over time. The flavors will also blend in better and create individual scents. In this way, It only takes about 20 minutes to heat on a low fire, and the whole red wine will be exceptionally fragrant and delicious. Especially in such a season, it's winter. After eating a mouthful of fried steak, drink a mouthful of mulled red wine. It will keep you warm all winter. After Shaki listened, he took a sip. Wow, for a moment, she was startled by the fragrance. The moment you enter it, it is different from the seasoning sauce on the steak. The grape flavor of red wine is more intense, coupled with the roll of nutmeg and cinnamon. Give this glass of mulled wine a whole new taste. In addition to the relationship of apples and oranges, the red wine has a hint of sky. The lemon adds a touch of sweetness and sourness to the taste, and the sourness is not too strong. Ultimately, the combination of orange and clove is the highlight. Shaki suddenly sighed with a look of intoxication. The passion of red wine. I feel the passion of red wine. I have even felt the warm winter, a beautiful landscape. Fragrant, mellow, and warm. Sitting in front of a warm grill, drinking mulled wine like this, and pairing it with a delicious pan-fried steak. It's so good. Unexpectedly, not only Shaki, but all the sissies in the room were moved to the point of tears. It's so touching, as expected of our mother. This kind of red wine should be the best, right? 95. I feel so warm now because I drank this glass of red wine. I have felt the enthusiasm of the chef, and it will not be cold all winter. Yes, our mom is amazing, really amazing. The texture of this fried steak, the fruity sauce, and the mouth-watering aroma after eating it. Immediately after drinking a sip of mulled red wine, my whole body is now like in front of a large warm fireplace in a warm room. Outside it's snowing heavily, and listening to Mom's story. I'm so touched. It's delicious and delicious. My mother's dish surprised me. No one. Lin Fan, this kid has lost. In fact, he really won't lose in the hands of his mother. At least he knows the gap. A room full of people intoxicated and sighed. Tunkama looked at Lin Fan with a smug smile on his face. A must. If it was said that when Lin Fan opened the cooking just now, he still had a trace of lingering fears in his heart. So at this moment, he didn't even have the last trace of concern in his heart. It was decided that Lin Fan lost. Lost in the ingredients at the beginning. Sure enough, there won't be any miracles. If there's a problem with the ingredients, then the real gods can't save them. But they are powerless to return to the sky. At this time, Lin Fan brought out his dishes. People are a little surprised, after all. Lin Fan actually brought back the crab shell that should have been discarded. And it was spliced again. The dish in front of me at this time is hairy crabs made of shells. Chapter 228, The Late Night Cook Who Was Convinced, subscribed. When everyone saw it, they were a little disappointed. Isn't this a hairy crab? The only thing that is amazing is that after Lin Fan boiled the shells, he took them out again and put them together again. 55, yes. The only thing worth affirming is that Lin Fan's hands-on ability is very good, because it is still difficult to restore 100% to the original appearance. 35, in fact, to put it bluntly, this dish is that after the crab shells are boiled in soup, they are fished out, and then a whole crab is assembled and placed on the soup. Yeah, then it's gone. The highlight of the whole dish is probably this manually restored crab shell. Rare and strange. At first glance, it's quite novel, but you must know, we are all experienced late-night cooks. How can we be convinced by such low-level pediatric cooking skills? Lin Fan, he is too arrogant. I have always said this sentence. Seeing this, Nakiri Arena, who was on the side, really couldn't comfort herself. In the beginning, he could still comfort himself, thinking that Lin Fan did it for 08 reasons. After all, this guy didn't do this kind of thing once or twice. Every time I am amazed. So, Nakiri Arena still has faith in him. When she saw the finished dish of Lin Fan, disappointment took over her. She never thought about Lin Fan, who has always been able to do everything with ease and has never tasted failure. You will lose here, and it's hard to die, but also because of such a bet. At this moment, Nakiri Arena had mixed feelings in her heart and didn't know what to say. At this time, the atmosphere in the room was enchanting. Those sissies, pointing more than this orchid, covered their mouths and laughed. Shaki was in a bad mood. She also didn't know why Lin Fan did this. There are countless ingredients for him to choose from, but he chose this one. I know it's very unpleasant, but I still just bite the bullet and don't care about anything. Isn't this because of arrogance? But no matter what, Shaki thought, since she has followed Lin Fan, she will recognize it no matter what. Hey, looking back at Nakiri Arena behind him, the eldest lady who used to be in Tsundere, her face didn't seem so good. At this time, when everyone in the room was laughing at Lin Fan, seeing Lin Fan calmly smiled. I said you. Is it too early to be happy? I haven't tasted it. How do you know what I'm doing? 35. If you rely on such a mentality to report to the group, to keep warm and deceive yourself, I have nothing to say. If that's the case, it really tarnishes the name of the cook. In that case, I have no morals to tell you. 35. Because with you, nothing is established. 35 exists while speaking. Lin Fan raised his sleeves, as if he was about to turn his face. Then, the atmosphere became very tense. The cooks in the room were all staring at Lin Fan. They looked fierce. A sissy also rolled up her sleeves and said angrily, I'll take a look today. How the hell are you fighting against us, you stinky boy? You alone can beat a group of us. I don't believe it. Having said this, everyone began to pose for driving. Nakiri Arena was amazed. Lin Fan said he doesn't care about winning or losing. That's it. At this time, the sissy who was selected as the tasting suddenly screamed, Whoa, my mommy, this is delicious. As soon as the voice fell, it instantly caught everyone's attention. At this time, everyone turned their attention away, seeing that sissy was tasting Lin Fan's dishes. However, her face was intoxicated, which aroused everyone's curiosity. I saw the person who tasted the food. Now, with his eyes closed, he was enjoying the food. At this moment, the man was suddenly shocked. My God, this is crab meat. With this crab shell soup, it's so delicious. How can it be done like this? 39. The crab meat shell can be eaten? It's so crispy. Wow, all of a sudden, everyone was shocked again. Tong looked at Lin Fan, wanting to know what was going on. Lin Fan laughed. Do you know now? Not to mention the crab shell soup. Lin Fan turned his neck and continued. This is a fried crab fight. Put the crab meat and crab paste into the soft shell of the hairy crab just after molting. Then wrap it in a layer of clothing and fry it. When you eat, you don't get crab shell soup, you get seasoning sauce. It is made with crab roe and crab juice. That is to say, the whole taste of this dish is cooked around crabs. 99. There's only the taste of crabs, but for this kind of taste, it is natural for me to choose hairy crabs. Whether it's crab roe or crab paste, it's the best 147. If you think about eating mainly the meat of hairy crabs, it's a bit ridiculous. However, 35 the crab shell soup is here. Having said that, Lin Fan lifted the other cover. In a crab shell, there is golden soup. This soup is as dazzling as light. Also exudes an attractive fresh aroma. When Tunkama saw this, he didn't ask why. He stepped forward quickly and picked up a tong for a fried crab bucket. You want to know if it was as magical as Lin Fan said. Art, kakaka, the moment when the upper and lower teeth touched the crab shell. I thought it was an extremely hard shell, but I was ready to work hard in my mind. But I didn't think about it, but it broke with a bite. This taste is really a crab that has just taken off its shell, but Lin Fan used carving skills to restore the writing into a whole one. You don't need to spit out the shell, you can eat the whole crab meat in one bite. The taste of crab meat and crab paste inside. Also, because of the fatness of the crab paste, crab oil overflows from time to time, resulting in a more delicious taste. It's amazing. It's different from the crabs I usually eat. Chapter 229, it's the accident you provoked first. Please subscribe. It is no exaggeration to say that Tunkama is the first time I have eaten such a magical combination. Lin Fan would have thought that using the crab that unshelled for the first time, at this time, the new shell of the crab has not yet matured, and it is still soft and tender. In the subdued shell, it has a little meaty taste, and it is added with Lin Fan's special crab meat and crab paste. Makes this dish, it looks like an ordinary fried crab. But I never thought about it. I only knew it at the moment after the entrance. This recipe is not that easy at all. Tunkama couldn't wait and dipped it into the dipping plate again, which he thought was the crab shell soup sauce. This is made with crab roe and crab oil. Half of the bite, the remaining fried crab bucket, rolled in this golden sauce. Just seeing this has made the people around me salivate. I take back what I said earlier. The tip of my tongue is already drooling. The sauce made from crab paste is too perfect. 95 Lin Fan is really amazing to be able to think of this trick. This is really easy to misunderstand and makes people take it lightly. When you say that, I'm very scared. I'm afraid that this is Lin Fan's plan. How do you say? Is it really? Why don't you think about it? In fact, this kid Lin Fan has already figured it out. 35. If you say that, it will be clear. First, we use disgusting ingredients to put smoke bombs on people, making mother and us have the illusion of losing. In fact, after we relax our vigilance. Oh my God, this is terrible. Lin Fan is so scheming. 99. The sissies were terrified. One by one screamed. At this time, Tunkama took a bite of crab shell soup. Completely conquered by Lin Fan's cooking. The deliciousness of crab shell soup has pushed this dish to its peak. Fresh, salty, fragrant. Instantly blooms in the mouth. Something even more amazing happened. Suddenly, there was a strong popping feeling in Tunkama's mouth. Is it a crab? Tunkama exclaimed. Then he continued. The crab still has a fresh taste. I can clearly feel the taste of the juice flowing out after it bursts in my mouth. 5. How the hell is this done? Does that mean the crab was the last to put in? Otherwise, the crabs would have already been cooked at the same time. Even if the last one was put in, they would have been half-cooked after being placed on a plate at such a high temperature. How could they still have such a taste? 9. What exactly is going on? Tunkama asked in surprise. Lin Fan smiled calmly and replied, the answer is very simple. The moment you open the crab shell, the crab roe you are looking at will fall into the soup. However, after you eat it right away, the crab roe, which has not been affected by the soup, still maintains its original fresh taste. The crab roe burst in the mouth and the juices merged with the crab shell soup. Let this crab shell soup, which should have reached its peak of freshness, once again have a fresh seasoning. Years the icing on the cake, understand? 99. Having said that, Lin Fan looked back at Nakiri Arena. The princess of Sundara was already stunned. After a while, there was a hint of relief. Lin Fan is still the same Lin Fan, from beginning to end. It has never changed. Sure enough, I believe this person is not wrong. Then, in response to the serious situation, the cook in the room became heavy. One by one whispered, Hey, what can I do now? I see that my mother is about to lose. Yeah, this is an ironclad matter. Unless mom can come up with a slaying stunt like Lin Fan's, otherwise, it will be hopeless. Then what should I do? I can't just watch my mother lose. In this case, something big will happen. 35. Then what should we do? As a cook, the bet has already been made. Can it be possible to take it back? So what is it? When you say that, I think about it. Eating halberd is their custom here, and it has nothing to do with us. If we don't admit it, you can't do this. The mouth grows on that kid. And if he goes out later, if the reputation of mother and the cook will be ruined. Why not? Since this kid has come here.
No more novels? Take part in the voting. The most requested novels and those with the most likes will be chosen for publication on euroaudiobooks.com. There, I can upload as much as I want without the risk of receiving a strike. Our 18 novels and other content that exceed what is morally acceptable are only published on Patreon or the free novels page. Remember, the site is funded by donations on Ko-fi and Patreon memberships.